Elena Whitmore pressed a blood-soaked towel against her ribs, each breath a jagged knife through her chest. The emergency room fluorescent lights burned her swollen eyes. She was 28 years old and certain she would not see 29. Not if she went back to that apartment. Not if Marcus found her here. But then a stranger in an expensive black suit limped past her curtain, leaving drops of his own blood on the linoleum, and their eyes met for exactly 3 seconds. 3 seconds that would save her life and destroy everything she thought she knew about safety, love, and surviving in a world built to break women like her. If you want to see how far Elena's story travels, hit that like button and drop a comment with your city. Stay with me until the end. This is just the beginning. The clock above the nurse's station read 2:47 a.m. when Elena finally stopped shaking. She sat in the plastic chair outside exam room 4, knees pulled tight to her chest, one hand still clutching the thin hospital blanket they had given her. The other hand pressed a wad of gauze against the cut above her left eyebrow. The bleeding had mostly stopped. That was something. Small victories. Her phone buzzed in her jacket pocket. She did not look at it. She knew who it was. Marcus always called after, always apologized, always promised it would never happen again. The lies were getting lazier. "Miss Whitmore?" A nurse appeared in front of her, clipboard in hand, expression carefully neutral. "Doctor's ready to see you now." Elena nodded but did not move. Her body felt like it belonged to someone else. Someone heavier. Someone older. Someone who had given up. "Take your time," the nurse said, softer now. She had kind eyes. Tired, but kind. "We're not going anywhere." Elena forced herself to stand. Her ribs screamed in protest. She had felt something crack when Marcus shoved her into the kitchen counter, but she had not told the intake nurse that part. Just said she fell. Clumsy. Not watching where she was going. The nurse had written it down without comment. Elena had been coming to this hospital for 8 months. Different nurses. Different excuses. Same lie underneath. She was halfway to the exam room when the commotion started. The double doors at the end of the hallway slammed open. 2 men in dark suits came through first, moving fast, eyes scanning. Then a third man between them, limping badly, one hand pressed against his side. Blood seeped between his fingers, dark and wet against the white dress shirt. "Gunshot wound," one of the suited men barked at the nurse's station. "Private room, now." The staff moved immediately. No questions, no hesitation. Whoever this man was, he got different treatment than women with clumsy excuses. Elena stepped back against the wall to let them pass. That was when the injured man looked at her. Just a glance. 3 seconds, maybe less. But something in his eyes stopped her breath. Not pain, though there was plenty of that. Not fear. Something colder, sharper. Like he was cataloging every detail of her face, measuring her against some internal calculation she could not begin to understand. His eyes dropped to the gauze in her hand, the bruises on her throat. The way she held herself like something broken, trying not to break further. Then he was past her, disappearing into a room at the far end of the hall, his men forming a wall outside the door. "Miss Whitmore?" The nurse again, patient. "This way." Elena followed, but she kept glancing back. The doctor was a woman in her 50s with silver streaks in her black hair and no patience for bullshit. "You didn't fall," she said, shining a penlight into Elena's eyes. "You can tell me you did, and I'll write it down, but we both know better." Elena looked at the ceiling. "I'm fine. You have 3 cracked ribs, a concussion, and defensive bruising on both forearms. That's not fine. That's someone trying to kill you slowly." "He doesn't mean to." "They never do." The doctor stepped back, snapped off her gloves. "I'm calling the police." "No." Elena sat up too fast, white sparks dancing across her vision. "Please, it'll just make things worse." "Worse than this? You don't understand. Marcus, he's under a lot of stress at work. Money's tight. He just needs... What he needs is to be in jail." The doctor's voice was flat. "What you need is to leave before he puts you in the ground." Elena said nothing. She had heard it all before. From her sister. From the school counselor who had noticed her flinching during a fire drill. From the woman at the coffee shop who always gave her extra napkins without asking why her hands shook so badly. Leave. Just leave. Like it was simple. Like she had anywhere to go. "I'm prescribing pain medication," the doctor said finally, scribbling on a pad. "And I'm documenting everything I see tonight. When you're ready to press charges, it'll be here waiting. I'm not going to press charges. Then you're going to die. The doctor handed her the prescription. 6 months. Maybe a year if you're lucky. That's my professional opinion. Elena took the paper with numb fingers. The doctor paused at the door. There's a shelter. I can make a call right now. They'll send someone to pick you up. You don't have to go back to him. He'll find me. Not if you actually try to disappear. Elena looked at her hands, the purple bruises ringing both wrists. Thank you for your help. The doctor's expression hardened. Then she left without another word. Elena sat alone in the exam room, staring at the prescription she could not afford to fill, thinking about the apartment she could not afford to leave, trapped in a life that was killing her by degrees. Her phone buzzed again, and again, and again. She turned it off. The hospital discharged her at 4 a.m. with instructions to rest, ice the ribs, and follow up with her primary care physician. Elena had not seen a primary care physician in 3 years. The school's insurance barely covered emergencies. She stood in the parking lot, keys in hand, trying to remember where she had parked. The adrenaline was wearing off. Everything hurt now, sharp and immediate. You're not safe. Elena spun around, too fast, ribs shrieking. One of the suited men stood 3 feet away. He had appeared out of nowhere, silent as smoke. Excuse me? The man who did that to you. The suited man gestured vaguely at her face. He's waiting for you, probably at your apartment, maybe in your car. Men like that, they don't just let go. Elena's stomach dropped. How do you... I know the signs. His expression was unreadable. My employer wanted me to give you something. He held out a business card, plain white. No name. Just a phone number printed in black ink. What is this? Insurance, the man said. You call that number. Someone answers. No questions. No judgment. No cops unless you want them. Just help. I don't understand. You don't have to. Not yet. He pressed the card into her hand. When you're ready to stop dying, you call. That's all. Who is your employer? The man smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. Someone who recognizes a fighter when he sees one, even if she doesn't recognize it herself yet. Then he walked away, dissolving back into the pre-dawn shadows. Elena looked at the card. The number seemed to burn against her palm. She should throw it away. She should get in her car, drive home, pretend this night had never happened. Instead, she slipped the card into her jacket pocket next to her useless phone and her empty wallet, and wondered if dying slowly was really worse than whatever this stranger was offering. Marcus was waiting in the apartment. Elena smelled the cigarette smoke before she opened the door. He had quit smoking 2 years ago. He only started again when he was working up to something. She considered running, getting back in the car, driving until the gas ran out. But her purse was inside, her laptop, the few things she owned that still felt like hers. So she opened the door. He sat on the couch in the dark, cigarette glowing orange between his fingers. He had been handsome once. Square jaw, broad shoulders, easy smile. Now he just looked hollow, like something had eaten him from the inside out and left only the angry shell behind. Where were you? His voice was quiet. That was bad. The quiet was always worse than the yelling. Hospital. Why didn't you answer my calls? Phone died. Don't lie to me, Elena. She closed the door behind her, leaned against it. Every muscle in her body screamed to run, but her brain knew better. Running triggered the chase triggered the catch triggered... I'm not lying, she said. Calm, steady, the voice she used on her second graders when they got upset. I fell. Hit my head. The nurse took my phone to put it somewhere safe, and I forgot to ask for it back. Marcus studied her. The cigarette burned down toward his fingers. He did not seem to notice. You fell, he repeated. Yes. Funny, you fall a lot lately. Elena said nothing. He stood up, ground the cigarette out on the coffee table, another burn mark among dozens. Come here. Marcus, I'm really tired. I said, come here. She walked forward on legs that felt like water, stopped 3 feet away, far enough to run, close enough to obey. He reached out, almost gentle, and touched the bandage above her eyebrow. She flinched, could not help it. I'm sorry, he said, and his eyes were wet. I'm so sorry, baby. I don't know what's wrong with me. The job, It's just, they're cutting hours and my boss is a prick, and I come home and you're always so distant, and his voice cracked. I just love you so much and I'm terrified of losing you. The same script, every time. Elena knew her lines by heart. It's okay, she whispered. I know you're stressed. I'll do better. I promise. I'll get help. Therapy, maybe? Would that make you feel better? If I talk to someone? Yes. Yeah? He smiled, hopeful, boyish, the man she had loved 3 years ago. Yeah, okay. I'll call someone tomorrow. First thing, we're going to fix this, Elena. We're going to be good again. Like we used to be. Okay. He pulled her into a hug. She stood rigid, every nerve screaming, while he held her like she was precious. Breakable. Like he had not broken her himself 100 times over. I love you, he murmured into her hair. I love you too, she said, and felt a piece of herself die inside the lie. Elena did not sleep that night. She lay in bed beside Marcus, listening to him snore, thinking about the business card in her jacket pocket. By morning, she had convinced herself it was nothing. A prank. A scam. Maybe just some rich guy's guilt trip, throwing money at problems he did not understand. She went to work. 2nd grade. 23 kids with missing teeth and untied shoes and questions about why Miss Whitmore's face was all bruised. I fell, she told them, smiling through the lie. I'm very clumsy. They accepted it the way kids always did. Adults lied. That was normal. At lunch, her sister called. Elle, I'm worried about you. I'm fine, Sarah. You're not fine. You sound exhausted. You look... A pause. Sarah had seen her yesterday at the grocery store, before the ER. You look like you're disappearing. I'm just tired. School's busy. Liar. Sarah's voice went sharp. When are you going to stop protecting him? I'm not. You are. You always do. Even when we were kids, you covered for Dad, made excuses, pretended everything was normal, and look where that got Mom. Elena closed her eyes. Their mother had left when Elena was 16. No note, no goodbye, just gone. They had found her 6 months later in a motel 3 states over, working as a night clerk and refusing all contact. She sent birthday cards now, nothing else. Marcus isn't Dad, Elena said. No, he's worse. At least Dad had the decency to only hit when he was drunk. Sarah, please, leave him. Tonight. Pack a bag and leave. You can stay with me and Tom. We have space. He'll come looking. Then we'll call the cops. That won't stop him. Then what will? Elena did not have an answer. Sarah sighed. I can't watch you do this anymore, Elle. I can't watch you kill yourself for a man who doesn't deserve you. Next time he puts you in the hospital, I'm filing a report myself, and I'm telling your principal, and I'm telling anyone who'll listen. You hear me? Yeah, I hear you. I love you. I love you too. Elena hung up and put her head down on the desk and tried very hard not to cry in front of her students. The end came 4 days later. Marcus got fired. Some argument with his supervisor that turned into a shoving match that turned into security escorting him out. He came home at 2 in the afternoon, already drunk, already spiraling. Elena was grading papers at the kitchen table. She heard him slam the door and knew, just knew. They fired me, he said, flat, dead. Marcus, I'm so sorry. Shut up. He crossed to the fridge, grabbed another beer. His 4th, maybe 5th. Just shut up. I don't need your pity. Elena carefully set down her pen. What can I do to help? Help? You want to help? He turned on her, eyes bloodshot. You can stop acting like you're better than me. Stop walking around here like some sad little victim. Stop making me feel like a piece of shit every time I look at you. I don't think... The beer bottle hit the wall 6 inches from her head. Glass exploded. Beer foamed down the paint. Elena ran. Not to the bedroom. Not to the bathroom. Those doors had locks but no exits. She ran for the front door, fingers scrabbling for the deadbolt. Marcus caught her by the hair, yanked her backward. She screamed, clawed at his hands. He dragged her across the living room, slammed her face first into the wall. You don't get to leave, he snarled in her ear. You don't get to run away like your bitch mother. We're in this together. You promised, till death do us part. We're not married, Elena gasped. Might as well be. You're mine. You've always been mine. He spun her around, pinned her against the wall with one hand around her throat. The pressure built. Black spots danced. Say it, he demanded. Say you're mine. Elena couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. The world was going dark at the edges, her lungs screaming, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. Say it. Something in her snapped. Not broke. Snapped. Like a wire pulled too tight for too long, finally giving up. She brought her knee up as hard as she could. Marcus howled, stumbled back. His grip loosened. Elena sucked in air and ran again, this time making it to the bedroom, slamming the door, locking it. He hit the door 3 seconds later. The frame shook. Open this door! Elena grabbed her phone with shaking hands, tried to dial 911. He had been pounding for 30 seconds when she realized the phone was dead. She had forgotten to charge it. Stupid. So stupid. I'm going to break this door down, Elena, and when I do, I'm going to finish what I started. Do you hear me? I'm done playing nice. I'm done pretending. You made me this way. All of this is your fault. The door cracked. One hinge tore free. Elena looked around wildly. Window, 4th floor, no balcony, straight drop, closet, no lock, no exit. Under the bed, her jacket. On the chair by the window, the business card in the pocket. She lunged for it, fingers clumsy with panic. Found the card. Her laptop was on the nightstand, still charged. She opened it, pulled up her messaging app, typed the number with shaking hands. The door cracked again. Both hinges now. One more hit, and Marcus would be through. Elena didn't type a message, didn't explain, just 3 words. Help me, please. She hit send and waited to die. Und the response came in 11 seconds. Address? Elena typed it, barely legible, fingers slipping on the keys. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Don't open the door for anyone but me. The bedroom door exploded inward. Marcus stood in the wreckage, chest heaving, eyes wild. Found you, he said. Elena bolted for the bathroom, made it inside, slammed the door, turned the lock just as Marcus hit it from the other side. This door was stronger, solid wood. But it wouldn't last forever. You can't hide in there forever, Marcus shouted. I'll wait. I've got all night. Elena slid down to the floor, back against the tub, phone clutched to her chest. She didn't know who was coming, didn't know if anyone was coming. The stranger could be lying, could be crazy, could be worse than Marcus. But she was out of options. 5 minutes passed. 10. Marcus had gone quiet outside. That was worse than the yelling. Then she heard it. The front door opening. No knock, no announcement. Just the soft click of the lock and the whisper of hinges. Who the fuck are you? Marcus's voice, sharp with surprise. No answer, just footsteps. Multiple sets, moving with purpose. Get out of my apartment! This is private property. I'll call the cops. The sound of impact, a body hitting the floor. Silence. Elena's heart hammered. She pressed herself into the corner, made herself as small as possible. A knock on the bathroom door. Soft, almost polite. Miss Whitmore? A man's voice. Calm, professional. The same suited man from the hospital. It's safe now. You can come out. Where's Marcus? Contained. He won't hurt you again. You have my word. Elena's hands shook so badly she could barely grip the doorknob. She unlocked it, opened it. 3 men stood in her bedroom. 2 she didn't recognize. Both tall, both armed, both watching her with expressions that gave nothing away. The third was the one from the hospital. He looked exactly the same. Suit, calm eyes, no judgment. Are you injured? He asked. Elena shook her head, couldn't find words. Good. Grab what you need. We're leaving in 2 minutes. Leaving where? Somewhere safe. I can't just... Miss Whitmore. He stepped closer. Not threatening, just present. In approximately 4 minutes, your neighbors will have called the police about the noise. When they arrive, they'll find your boyfriend injured and you gone. You can stay and try to explain. Try to get a restraining order that he'll violate within 48 hours. Try to press charges that'll get dropped because you'll be too scared to testify. Or you can come with us now and actually survive this. Who are you? Someone who keeps his promises. Now grab your things. Elena looked past him. Through the broken bedroom door, she could see Marcus on the living room floor, zip-tied and unconscious. There was blood on his face. Not much. Professional. She should feel guilty, should feel something. Instead, she felt light, like she had been holding her breath for years and could finally exhale. 2 minutes, the man repeated gently. Elena grabbed her school bag, dumped the contents on the bed, filled it with clothes, her laptop, the shoebox of photos from under the bed, her grandmother's necklace, everything that mattered, everything that was hers. 90 seconds later, she walked out of the apartment and didn't look back. They took her to a building downtown. Expensive, sleek, the kind of place Elena had only seen in movies, glass and steel and doormen who didn't ask questions. The elevator required a key card. They rode to the top floor in silence. The penthouse was bigger than her entire apartment building. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, furniture that probably cost more than she made in a year, art on the walls that looked real. "Wait here," the suited man said, and disappeared down a hallway. Elena stood in the middle of the living room, still clutching her bag, trying to understand what was happening. Footsteps. She turned. The man from the hospital stood in the doorway. He had changed clothes, dark slacks, black shirt, no tie. The bandage on his side was visible through the thin fabric. He moved carefully, like someone managing pain but refusing to show it. "You called," he said. Simple statement, no question. "I didn't know where else to go." Smart. He crossed to the bar, poured 2 fingers of whiskey into a glass, held it out to her. "You're shaking." Elena took the glass because she didn't know what else to do. The whiskey burned going down, but it steadied something inside her. "I'm Damien Moretti," he said. "And before you ask, yes, you've probably heard of me. No, you shouldn't believe most of what you've heard. And yes, this is going to complicate your life significantly." "I don't understand." "You will." He poured his own drink. "For now, you need to know 3 things. 1, you're safe here. No one gets to you without going through me first. 2, this isn't charity. I don't do charity. You'll earn your place. And 3, when you're ready to go back to your normal life, you can. But I don't think you will be. Ready, I mean." Elena set down the glass. Her hands had stopped shaking. "Why are you helping me?" Damien looked at her for a long moment. Those same cold, measuring eyes from the hospital. But something else underneath now. Something almost human. "Because I know what it's like to be trapped," he said finally. "And I know what it takes to get free. The question isn't why I'm helping, it's whether you're ready to help yourself." "I don't know what that means." "You will," he said again. "Get some rest. We'll talk in the morning." He turned to leave. "Mr. Moretti?" He paused. "Thank you." He didn't smile, didn't soften, just nodded once and disappeared down the hall, leaving Elena alone in a penthouse that felt less like a cage and more like the first breath of air after drowning. She finished the whiskey, set down the glass. And for the first time in 8 months, she slept without fear. Elena woke to sunlight cutting through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. For 3 seconds, she forgot where she was. Then memory crashed back. Marcus on the floor, the zip ties, the elevator ride. Damien Moretti's cold eyes measuring her like a problem to solve. She sat up too fast. Her ribs reminded her why that was stupid. The bedroom was twice the size of her old apartment. Minimalist furniture, neutral colors. Nothing personal except the clothes someone had unpacked from her bag and hung in the closet while she slept. The thought of a stranger touching her things should have bothered her. Instead, she felt oddly cared for, like someone had anticipated a need before she knew to ask. Her phone sat on the nightstand, plugged in and fully charged. 17 missed calls from Marcus. 34 texts. She deleted them without reading and turned the phone off again. A knock at the door. "Miss Whitmore?" A woman's voice, unfamiliar. "I have breakfast if you're awake." Elena found a robe hanging on the bathroom door, expensive silk that whispered against her bruised skin. She wrapped it around herself and opened the door. The woman in the hallway was maybe 60, silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, sharp eyes that cataloged Elena's injuries without comment. She carried a tray with coffee, toast, scrambled eggs, and fresh fruit arranged like something from a magazine. "I'm Anna," she said. "I manage the household. You need anything, you ask me. Mr. Moretti wants to see you after you've eaten. No rush. Take your time." Thank you. Anna's expression softened slightly. The bathroom has everything you need. Clothes in your size are in the closet. He had someone shop this morning. If they don't fit or you don't like them, say so. We'll fix it. She left before Elena could process that Damian Moretti had sent someone shopping for her at dawn. The coffee was perfect. The eggs were warm. Elena ate mechanically, her mind trying to catch up with her circumstances. 24 hours ago, she had been in her apartment, grading papers, pretending everything was fine. Now she was eating breakfast in a stranger's penthouse, wearing a robe that cost more than her monthly rent, while somewhere across the city Marcus was probably talking to police about his crazy girlfriend who ran off with armed men in the middle of the night. She should call her sister, should explain. But what would she say? That she had accepted help from a man whose name made people nervous? That she was hiding in a penthouse while armed guards stood outside her door? Sarah would lose her mind. Elena finished the coffee and went to shower. The bathroom had heated floors, a rainfall shower head, and enough expensive soaps and lotions to stock a boutique. She stayed under the hot water until her skin turned pink, washing away 3 years of Marcus's fingerprints, watching the last pieces of her old life spiral down the drain. The clothes in the closet fit perfectly. Jeans that didn't gap at the waist, a soft sweater that didn't pull across her shoulders. Even the shoes were right. Someone had been paying very close attention. She found Damian in his office at the end of the hall. The door was open. He sat behind a massive desk, reading something on his laptop, a cup of coffee cooling at his elbow. He had reading glasses on. They made him look younger, less dangerous. "Come in," he said without looking up. "Close the door." Elena obeyed. The office was all dark wood and leather, bookshelves lining 2 walls, a bar cart in the corner. The third wall was windows overlooking the city. From this high up, everything looked small, manageable. Damian closed the laptop and removed his glasses. The dangerous edge snapped back into place. "How are you feeling?" "Confused," Elena admitted. "Fair." He gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Sit. We need to have a conversation about reality." Elena sat. The leather chair was butter soft and probably cost more than her car. Damian leaned back, studying her with the same intensity from the hospital, like he was reading a book written in a language only he understood. "Do you know who I am?" he asked. "You told me your name." "That's not what I asked." Elena hesitated. "I've heard things." "What kind of things?" "That you're connected. That people don't cross you. That you own half the city's nightlife and most of the waterfront development." "All true. What else?" "That you're dangerous." Damian smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Also true. But danger is relative. I'm dangerous to people who threaten what's mine. To people under my protection, I'm the safest person they'll ever meet. Do you understand the difference?" "I think so." "You don't. Not yet. But you will." He stood, walked to the windows. "Your boyfriend is in custody. Assaulting an officer, resisting arrest, destruction of property. He'll be arraigned this afternoon. With his record and the evidence in the apartment, he's looking at 18 months minimum." Elena's stomach dropped. "You did that." "I made a phone call. The cops did the rest. He made it easy by trying to fight them when they showed up. He's going to think I set him up." "He should. You did." "Indirectly." Damian turned to face her. "And when he gets out, he's going to come looking for you. Men like that always do. So you have a choice to make." "What choice?" "You can go back to your life. I'll set you up in a new apartment across town, help you get a restraining order, make sure the school knows to call security if he shows up. You'll be as safe as the system allows, which isn't very safe, but it's something. Or you stay here. You learn to protect yourself. You let me teach you how to stop being a victim and start being something else." Elena looked at her hands. The bruises were fading to yellow-green. In a week, they'd be gone. But the fear would still be there, living under her skin, waiting for the next Marcus to find her. "What's the catch?" she asked. "Smart question." Damian returned to his desk. "The catch is that my world is complicated, dangerous. People who want to hurt me will see you as an easy target. You stay here, you paint a target on your back. You'll need to learn to live with that weight." "Why would you take that risk for a stranger?" "Because I don't believe in wasted potential." He sat down, fixed her with that measuring stare. 4 nights ago in that hospital, I saw a woman who had given up. who had accepted that her life was worth less than the man destroying it. But I also saw something else. A spark. Most people in your situation, they stay down. They let it break them. You got back up. You called for help. That takes strength most people don't have. I was desperate. Desperation is just strength that hasn't found its direction yet. He opened a drawer, pulled out a folder. I did some research. You've been teaching for 6 years. Excellent reviews. Your students love you. You volunteer at the literacy center on weekends. You put yourself through college while caring for your sick grandmother. You're not weak, Elena. You just forgot how to be strong. The fact that he knew all that should have scared her. Instead, it made her feel seen. Actually seen, for the first time in years. What exactly are you offering? She asked. A chance to rebuild. You stay here while you heal. I'll teach you self-defense, how to read people, how to see danger before it sees you. You'll work with Anna, help manage some of my legitimate businesses, put that sharp brain to use. In 6 months, maybe a year, you walk out of here with skills, savings, and the confidence to make sure no one ever puts hands on you again. And what do you get out of it? Damien's expression shifted. Something almost vulnerable flickered across his face and was gone. Peace of mind, he said quietly. I couldn't help someone I cared about a long time ago. This is me making amends with the universe. Elena wanted to ask who, wanted to dig into that crack in his armor, but the look in his eyes told her that door was closed. I don't want charity, she said. Good, I'm not offering it. You'll work for everything you get here. It won't be easy. Some days you'll want to quit. But if you stick with it, you'll walk out of here a different person, stronger, safer, free. Free. The word hung in the air between them like a promise too big to believe. Can I think about it? Elena asked. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, the offer expires. He stood. Anna will show you around. You have full access to the apartment except my private office and the east wing. Don't leave the building without telling me first. And Elena? She stopped at the door. Your old life is over, one way or another. The only question is what you build to replace it. Elena nodded and left before he could see how badly her hands were shaking. Anna gave her a tour that took an hour. The penthouse occupied the entire top floor, 5 bedrooms, a gym that put her old fitness center to shame, a library with first editions and leather chairs perfect for curling up in, a kitchen that could handle a dinner party for 20, and a rooftop terrace with views that made her dizzy. Mr. Moretti doesn't entertain much, Anna explained as they walked. He values privacy, but when he does it right. How long have you worked for him? 12 years since his father died and he took over the family businesses. What's he like? As a boss? Anna considered this. Fair, demanding, loyal to a fault if you earn it. He doesn't forgive betrayal, but he doesn't punish mistakes if you own them. He's hard, but he's not cruel. There's a difference. They ended up back in the kitchen. Anna poured 2 cups of tea and gestured to the breakfast bar. Can I give you some advice? Anna asked. Please. Whatever you decide, be honest about it. Mr. Moretti can handle almost anything except dishonesty. If you're scared, tell him. If you need space, tell him. If you change your mind, tell him. But don't lie. Don't pretend. He's been lied to enough in his life. Who lied to him? Anna's expression shuddered. Not my story to tell. But just know that the man offering to help you has his own scars. He hides them better than most, but they're there. They drank their tea in comfortable silence. Elena found herself liking Anna. There was no pity in her eyes, no judgment, just quiet competence and an unexpected kindness. Can I ask you something? Elena said. Of course. Has he done this before? Helped someone like me? Anna shook her head. You're the first, which tells me something important. What? That he sees something in you worth protecting. Mr. Moretti doesn't make impulsive decisions. If he brought you here, he has a reason. Might not be a reason he's told you yet. Might not be a reason he's even told himself. But it's there. Elena thought about that for a long time after Anna left to run errands. She spent the afternoon in the library, trying to read, but mostly staring out the windows at the city below. Her city. She had lived here her whole life, but from this height it looked different, like she was seeing it for the first time. Her phone rang. She had turned it back on to call the school and request emergency leave. Her principal had been understanding when Elena explained she was dealing with a domestic situation. Told her to take the week, and they'd reassess. Sarah's name flashed on the screen. Elena almost didn't answer, but that felt like cowardice, like running. "Hey," she said. "Oh, thank God." Sarah's relief was palpable. "I've been calling for 2 days. Where are you?" "Somewhere safe." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I have right now." Silence on the other end. Then, "Did you leave him?" "Yes." "For real this time?" "For real." Sarah's breath hitched. "Where are you staying?" "With someone who's helping me." "Who?" Elena looked around at the penthouse, the expensive art, the armed guards she could see through the windows on the terrace, the careful distance Damien maintained between protection and control. "Someone I trust," she said, and was surprised to realize it was true. "Elle, you're scaring me. This doesn't sound like you. You don't just trust strangers." "I didn't have a choice." "There's always a choice." "No," Elena said quietly, "there really isn't. Not when it's leave or die. I chose to leave. Now I have to choose what comes next. Come stay with us. Tom and I have the spare room ready. You don't have to do this alone." "I'm not alone. And I'm safe. That's all you need to know right now." "Elena, I have to go. I'll call you in a few days, I promise." She hung up before Sarah could argue, felt guilty about it, but not guilty enough to call back. That night, Damien joined her for dinner. Anna had made lasagna, garlic bread, and salad. Comfort food that tasted like home. "You're staying," Damien said. Not a question. Elena set down her fork. "How do you know?" "Because you're still here. If you were leaving, you'd have packed already." "Maybe I haven't decided yet." "You decided the moment I made the offer. You're just working up the courage to admit it." He was right. Elena hated that he was right. "I want ground rules," she said. Damien raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." "I'm not your property. I'm not your project. I'm a person who needs help and is willing to work for it. But I make my own choices. About everything." "Agreed." "I want to keep teaching. Maybe not right away, but eventually." "Not a problem." "And if I want to leave, for good, not just for the day, you let me go. No questions, no guilt trips, no making me feel like I owe you something I can't repay." Damien leaned back in his chair, studying her. "Anything else?" "Yes. I want to know what you're really getting out of this. Because no one helps a stranger out of pure altruism. There's always an angle." For a long moment, he said nothing. Just looked at her with those cold, calculating eyes that gave nothing away. Then he sighed, ran a hand through his hair. For the first time since she had met him, he looked tired. "I had a sister," he said quietly. "Isabella. She was 3 years younger than me, sweet, trusting, the kind of person who saw the best in everyone." He paused. Elena waited. "When I was 25 and she was 22, she met a man, charming, successful, good family. My father approved. I should have looked closer, should have seen the signs. But I was busy building the business, proving myself, chasing my own ambitions. I didn't notice until it was too late." "What happened?" He isolated her, slowly, professionally, cut her off from friends, from family, from anyone who might have helped her see what he really was. By the time I realized what was happening, she wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't see me. He'd convinced her I was the problem, that I was controlling, that I didn't want her to be happy. Damien's jaw tightened. One night, he put her in the hospital, shattered her collarbone, 3 ribs, fractured her skull. When I went to see her, she covered for him, said she fell down the stairs, begged me not to make trouble, said she loved him and it was an accident and I needed to let it go. Elena's throat closed. "I didn't let it go," Damien continued. "I went to his house. I was going to kill him. Would have, probably. But when I got there, police were already on scene. Isabella had gone back to him after the hospital. They'd argued. He'd thrown her off the balcony, 5th floor. She died on impact." "I'm so sorry," Elena whispered. "The man served 3 years for manslaughter, 3 years for killing my sister. He's out now, married again, probably doing the same thing to some other woman." Damien's voice was flat, empty. "So when I saw you in that hospital, looking exactly like Isabella looked the last time I saw her alive, I made myself a promise. I couldn't save my sister, but maybe I could save you. Call it penance, call it selfishness, call it whatever you want. But that's the angle. That's what I get out of this." Elena didn't know what to say, so she reached across the table and put her hand over his. Damien looked at their joined hands like he had forgotten what human touch felt like. "I'll stay," Elena said, "and I'll work hard, and I'll become someone who doesn't need saving anymore. For both of us." Damien nodded, pulled his hand back. The moment was over, the wall back in place. "Training starts tomorrow," he said. 6 a.m. Don't be late." The next morning, Elena learned that Damien Moretti's idea of training was brutal. He met her in the gym at 6 sharp, wearing athletic pants and a tight black shirt that showed the bandage still wrapped around his ribs. He moved carefully, favoring the injury, but his eyes were sharp. "First lesson," he said, "awareness. Most people walk through life half asleep. They don't notice who's around them, who's watching, who's a threat. That ends today." For the next hour, he drilled her on observation, made her describe everyone she had seen in the building that morning, what they wore, how they moved, whether they made eye contact. She got maybe half of it right. Better than most, Damien admitted, but not good enough. You need to see everything, process everything. People telegraph their intentions if you know how to read them. How do you read them? Watch their hands, their eyes, their stance. Someone planning to hurt you tenses differently than someone walking past. Their weight shifts forward, their hands clench, their pupils dilate. Your brain can process these signals faster than conscious thought if you train it. He made her practice, over and over, identifying threat postures from safe ones, learning to trust her instincts when something felt wrong. "Your gut knows," he said. "But you've spent years training yourself to ignore it, to be polite, to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's how predators work. They exploit your socialization, your need to be nice. Starting today, you prioritize survival over politeness. Understand?" "Yes." "Show me." He moved toward her fast, hand raised. Elena flinched back, arms coming up to protect her face. Damien stopped, lowered his hand. "What did you just do wrong?" "I protected my face." "You froze. Your feet stayed planted. If I'd kept coming, you'd have had nowhere to go." He reset. "Try again. This time, move. Distance is your best defense. Create it." They practiced for another hour, him advancing, her retreating, learning to read his movement, to react before conscious thought. She tripped twice, fell once, got frustrated. "I can't do this," she said, breathing hard. "You are doing it. You're just doing it badly. That's fine. Everyone starts badly. When will I be good?" 6 months if you work hard, a year if you don't. Never if you give up." He tossed her a water bottle. "Break. Then we moved to actual defense." Actual defense turned out to be pain. Damien taught her where to hit, eyes, throat, groin, knees, and how to hit hard enough to matter. Made her practice on pads until her knuckles bled and her shoulders screamed. "Pain is your friend," he said. "Means you're doing it right. When someone grabs you, you don't pull away. You attack, hard and fast and mean. You end the threat before they know what's happening." He demonstrated. Grabbed her wrist. Showed her how to twist, strike, break free. Made her repeat it 50 times until her muscles remembered without her brain needing to think. "Why are you pushing me so hard?" Elena gasped during a water break. "Because someday your life will depend on this. And when that moment comes, you won't have time to think. Your body will react based on training, so we train until it's instinct." By the time they finished, Elena could barely stand. Her clothes were soaked with sweat. Her muscles felt like jelly. "Tomorrow, same time," Damien said. "We'll add footwork and environmental awareness." "There's more?" "Always. Go shower. Anna has breakfast ready." Elena limped to her room, every part of her body hurting. But underneath the pain, she felt something else. Something she hadn't felt in years. Pride. She had survived. She had worked hard and pushed through and done something difficult. It was a start. The days fell into a rhythm. Morning training with Damien, brutal, exhausting, but getting easier. Afternoons with Anna, learning how to manage Damien's legitimate businesses. The real estate holdings, the nightclubs, the restaurants. Elena had a head for numbers and organization. She streamlined schedules, caught billing errors, suggested efficiency improvements. Anna watched her work with quiet approval. "You're good at this," Anna said one afternoon. "I like puzzles. This is just a bigger puzzle." Mr. Moretti noticed. He's impressed. Elena looked up from the spreadsheet. He doesn't seem like someone who impresses easily. He isn't, which makes it mean something when he is. Evenings were quiet. Sometimes Damien joined her for dinner. Sometimes he was gone, handling business he never discussed. Elena didn't ask. She was learning to read the silences, to understand that some parts of his world were closed to her. She was okay with that. 3 weeks in, her body started to change. The constant training was building muscle, burning fat, reshaping her into something harder, stronger. She could see it in the mirror, shoulders more defined, core tighter, bruises fewer and farther between as she learned to avoid Damien's strikes. "You're getting faster," he said one morning after she successfully blocked 3 of his attacks in a row. "I have a good teacher. You have good instincts. I'm just showing you how to use them." That afternoon, working in Anna's office, Elena's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her. "Hello?" Heavy breathing on the other end, then, "I know where you are." "Marcus." Her blood went cold. "How did you get this number?" "Your sister's worried about you, thinks you're in trouble. I told her I'd check on you. She gave it to me. Sweet girl Sarah, still trusts me." Elena's hand tightened on the phone. "You need to stay away from my sister." "Or what? You'll send your boyfriend's thugs after me again?" Marcus laughed. "Ugly. I'm out, Elena. Got a good lawyer, charges dropped, self-defense, and now I'm coming for what's mine." "I'm not yours." "Yes, you are. You'll always be mine. And when I find you, and I will find you, we're going to have a long conversation about loyalty, about respect, about what happens to women who embarrass me." The line went dead. Elena sat frozen, the phone slipping from her numb fingers. Anna appeared in the doorway. "What's wrong?" "Marcus. He called. He's out. He knows." Elena's breath came too fast. "He's going to hurt Sarah to get to me." "Stay here." Anna disappeared. Returned 60 seconds later with Damien, who took one look at Elena's face and went very still. "Talk," he said. Elena told him, every word, every threat. When she finished, Damien pulled out his phone, made a call. "I need protection on Sarah Whitmore. Address is in the file I sent yesterday. 2 men, discreet. She doesn't need to know they're there." Pause. "Now." He hung up. "Your sister is safe," he told Elena. "I'll have men on her within the hour. Marcus comes within 100 yards. We'll know." He said charges were dropped. They were. His lawyer's expensive, connected. I knew it was coming. Damien's expression was hard. "I was hoping we'd have more time to prepare you." "Prepare me for what?" "For the reality that men like Marcus don't stop. Ever. They escalate. Prison didn't scare him. Restraining orders won't stop him. There's only one way this ends, Elena, and you need to decide if you're strong enough for that ending." Elena looked at him, saw the truth in his eyes, the cold, brutal truth she had been avoiding. "You're going to kill him," she whispered. "No, but if he comes at you again, you are." The words hung in the air, heavy, final. "I can't." "You can, and you will. Because the alternative is you die, and I won't let that happen. So we train harder, we train faster, and when he makes his move, and he will, you'll be ready." Elena wanted to argue, wanted to say there had to be another way, but she looked at Damien's scarred knuckles, his hard eyes, and knew he had walked this road before, knew he was offering her the only real choice, be ready to fight or be ready to die. "Okay," she said quietly, "teach me." Damien nodded. "Tomorrow we start weapons training. And Elena?" "Yeah?" "No more secrets. Marcus contacts you again, I know about it immediately. Your sister calls with concerns, you tell me. Anyone from your old life reaches out, you report it. Information is survival. Understand?" "I understand." That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Marcus out there somewhere, planning, hunting. Thinking about Sarah, unaware of the danger circling her. Thinking about how her life had become something unrecognizable in less than a month. A knock at her door, soft. "Come in," she called. Damien entered carrying 2 glasses of whiskey. He handed her one, sat in the chair by the window. "Couldn't sleep either?" she asked. "Never sleep well when there are threats I can't control." He sipped his drink. "You did good today. Staying calm. Not panicking. I feel like I'm drowning. You're not. You're learning to swim in deeper water. There's a difference. They sat in silence, drinking whiskey, watching the city lights. Can I ask you something? Elena said. Always. Do you regret it, this life? The violence? The constant watching your back? Damien considered this. Regret implies I had a choice. I didn't. My father built this empire with blood, and I inherited it. The only choice I had was whether to do it better or worse than he did. And did you? Do it better? I'm still alive. Most men in my position don't make it to 40, so yeah, I'd say I did something right. Are you happy? He looked at her, really looked. That's a complicated question. Most important ones are, I'm satisfied. I'm purposeful. Happy is for people who don't live in my world. What about now? Are you happy now? Damien's expression shifted, something vulnerable flickering across his features. Teaching you. Watching you get stronger. Seeing you become who you were meant to be before someone tried to break you. Yeah, that makes me something close to happy. Elena's throat tightened. Thank you for all of this. Don't thank me yet. We're just getting started. He stood to leave. Elena caught his hand. Damien? Yeah? I'm not going to let Marcus win, whatever it takes. I'm going to survive this. He squeezed her hand once. I know you are. That's why I'm helping you. Then he was gone, and Elena was alone with her whiskey and her racing thoughts and the first real spark of hope she had felt in years. The shooting range was in the basement of a building Damien owned 3 blocks from the penthouse. Soundproofed walls, climate-controlled, expensive enough that Elena knew regular people never set foot inside. She stood in lane 5, ear protection on, staring at the handgun Damien had placed in front of her like it was a live snake. It's not going to bite you, he said. I've never held a gun before. I know. That's why we're here. He picked it up, demonstrated the grip. Glock 19, standard, reliable, 15 rounds. You're going to learn to shoot it, clean it, carry it, and use it without thinking. I don't want to kill anyone. Neither do I. But wanting and being able are different things. The goal isn't to make you a killer. It's to make sure you're never helpless again. He set the gun down, turned to face her. Marcus is escalating. My men saw him outside your sister's apartment building yesterday. He's watching, waiting. When he moves, it'll be fast and it'll be violent. You need to be ready. Elena's hand shook as she picked up the gun, heavier than she expected, cold metal against her palm. Good, Damien said. Respect the weight. Now, stance. He spent the next hour teaching her the mechanics. How to stand, how to aim, how to breathe through the shot instead of fighting it. The first time she pulled the trigger, the recoil nearly knocked her backward. The bullet went wide, punching a hole in the paper target's shoulder instead of center mass. Again, Damien said. By the end of the session, her arms ached and her ears rang despite the protection. But 3 of her last 5 shots had hit the target's chest. Not perfect. Not good. But better. You're a natural, Damien said as they packed up. I missed more than I hit. You didn't flinch. That's harder to teach than accuracy. He handed her the Glock in its case. This is yours now. Keep it in your room. Practice dry firing every night. Build the muscle memory. Elena took the case, felt the weight of responsibility settle onto her shoulders like a lead blanket. When you were teaching Isabella to shoot, did she hate it this much? Damien went very still. I never taught Isabella to shoot. Why not? Because I thought I could protect her myself. Thought my reputation and my resources were enough. I was wrong. He met her eyes. I won't make that mistake twice. They drove back to the penthouse in silence. Elena watched the city pass by through bulletproof windows, the Glock case heavy in her lap, thinking about how far she had fallen from the woman who taught second graders to read, or maybe how far she had climbed. She wasn't sure which direction was which anymore. Anna met them in the foyer, expression tight. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Damien asked. The kind where Sarah Whitmore just showed up downstairs demanding to see her sister. Elena's stomach dropped. She's here? Building security has her in the lobby. She's making a scene, threatening to call the police if she doesn't get answers. Damien looked at Elena. Your call. I can have them turn her away. She's my sister. I have to talk to her. Then we do it upstairs. Controlled environment. Agreed? Elena nodded. Damien made a call. 3 minutes later, the elevator opened and Sarah stepped out, eyes wild, scanning the penthouse like she had walked into enemy territory. She saw Elena and rushed forward. Oh, thank God. I've been going crazy. You won't answer my calls, you won't tell me where you are, and then Tom sees these men following me and I just... She grabbed Elena's shoulders, looked her over. Are you okay? Did someone hurt you? Are you being held here against your will? Sarah, slow down. Don't tell me to slow down. You disappear. Marcus is going around telling everyone you had a breakdown, and you're living in some billionaire's penthouse with armed guards. What am I supposed to think? You're supposed to trust me. I do trust you. I don't trust him. Sarah pointed at Damien, who stood near the windows watching the scene with his usual unreadable expression. Who are you? What do you want with my sister? Sarah, stop, Elena said firmly. Damien saved my life. He's helping me. Helping you do what? Disappear? Hide? Elle, whatever you think you're doing here, it's not the answer. You need real help. Therapy. Support groups. Not whatever this is. Elena felt something crack inside her chest. The old urge to apologize, to smooth things over, to make Sarah feel better at her own expense. But Damien's voice echoed in her head. Prioritize survival over politeness. I needed to survive, Elena said, voice hard. And the system you're telling me to trust? The therapists and support groups and restraining orders. They don't work. Marcus would have killed me. Maybe not that night, maybe not the next week, but eventually. Damien gave me a way out. So yeah, I took it. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. You could have come to us. Tom and I would have protected you. No, you wouldn't have. Because you don't live in reality. You live in a world where police respond on time and restraining orders mean something, and men like Marcus respect boundaries. I don't have that luxury anymore. So what? You're just going to live here forever? Play house with some dangerous stranger? I'm going to learn how to protect myself. Then I'm going to rebuild my life. And if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but I'm not asking permission. Sarah wiped her eyes, looked at Damien. If you hurt her, I won't, Damien said quietly. You have my word. Your word means nothing to me. Then believe this. Your sister is safer in this building than anywhere else in the city. I have men watching your apartment because Marcus has been surveilling you. He's looking for leverage, for a way to get to Elena. If you care about her, you'll accept the protection and stop drawing attention. Sarah's face went pale. Marcus is watching me? Was. My men scared him off yesterday, but he'll be back. Men like that don't quit. You should call the police, Sarah said, but her voice had lost its conviction. And tell them what? That someone was standing on a public street? They can't do anything until he actually breaks the law. Damien's expression softened slightly. I know this isn't the help you wanted for your sister, but it's the help she needs, and she's thriving here, getting stronger, becoming someone who won't need my protection forever. Can you trust that? Sarah looked at Elena, really looked. And Elena saw the moment her sister registered the changes, the muscle definition in her arms, the way she held herself, straighter, steadier, the absence of fear in her eyes. You do look different, Sarah admitted. Healthier. I am healthier. For the first time in 3 years, I'm not afraid to fall asleep. I'm not jumping at every sound. I'm not making excuses for bruises. I'm just living, actually living. Sarah's tears spilled over. She pulled Elena into a fierce hug. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't see how bad it was. I should have done more. Should have pushed harder. You did what you could. It wasn't your job to save me. Elena pulled back, held her sister's face. But I need you to trust me now. Can you do that? Sarah nodded. Yeah, I can do that. They talked for another hour. Elena showed Sarah around the penthouse, introduced her to Anna, explained the daily routine without getting into specifics about the training. Sarah gradually relaxed, though she kept shooting suspicious glances at Damien whenever he was in the room. Before she left, Sarah pulled Elena aside. He cares about you, I can see it. Just be careful. Men who live like this, they have enemies, and those enemies don't play fair. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you traded one dangerous man for another. Damien's not Marcus. No, he's worse, because Marcus is small-time crazy. This guy, Sarah gestured around the penthouse. He's the kind of powerful that gets people killed. You really want to tie yourself to that? Elena thought about Isabella, about Damien's scarred hands and haunted eyes, about the way he pushed her in training because he knew what happened when women weren't prepared to fight back. I'm not tied to anything, Elena said. I'm learning. When I'm ready, I'll leave and build my own life. But right now, this is where I need to be. Sarah didn't look convinced, but she hugged Elena tight and promised to call more, to stop worrying so much, to trust that Elena knew what she was doing. After she left, Elena found Damien in his office, staring at his computer screen without really seeing it. That went better than expected, she said. Your sister loves you. That's dangerous. Dangerous how? Love makes people predictable. Marcus will use that. He'll threaten her to get to you. Or worse, he'll hurt her to punish you. You need to be ready for that possibility. Elena's chest tightened. You really think he'd go after Sarah? I think desperate men do desperate things. And Marcus is running out of options. My men have frozen his assets. His lawyer dropped him when the money stopped flowing, and his friends are distancing themselves because I made it clear that associating with him is bad for business. He's isolated, angry, blaming you for everything. That's when people get dangerous. What do? We stay alert, we train harder, and we wait for him to make his move. Damien finally looked at her. How are you feeling about the gun? Terrified, but less terrified than I was this morning. Good. Fear keeps you sharp, just don't let it paralyze you. He closed his laptop. Anna tells me you've been doing excellent work with the business accounts. It's just organizing, nothing special. It's not. You found 3 billing discrepancies that were costing me 15 grand a month. You streamlined the inventory system for the clubs. You're good at this, Elena. You should consider it as a career option when you're ready to leave. The casual way he said, when you're ready to leave, made something twist in Elena's chest, like he was already preparing for her absence, already building walls to protect himself when she inevitably walked away. What if I'm not ready for a while, she asked. Then you stay as long as you need. And after? Do we just stop talking, pretend this never happened? Damien's expression shuddered. We'll figure that out when we get there. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. He stood, walked to the window. I'm not good at this, Elena. People in my life, they're either employees or enemies. I don't have friends, don't have family anymore. I don't know how to care about someone without it being transactional or tactical. So yeah, when you're ready to leave, we'll figure out what that looks like. But I can't promise you something I don't know how to give. Elena walked over, stood beside him. Below, the city glittered like broken glass. What if I don't want to figure it out later? She said quietly. What if I want to figure it out now? Then you're asking the wrong questions. What's the right question? Damien looked at her, something in his eyes that might have been fear or longing or both. The right question is whether you're prepared for the answer. Before Elena could respond, his phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression going hard. When? Pause. How many? Another pause. Lock it down. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, already moving toward the door. What's wrong? Elena asked. One of my warehouses got hit. 6 men, professional. They knew exactly where the cameras were, where the guards patrol, where the safe is. He grabbed his jacket from the back of his office chair. I need to handle this. Is it connected to Marcus? No, this is something else. Old business coming back around. He paused at the door. Stay in the building. Don't open the door for anyone except Anna or my head of security. You have my number if something feels wrong. Be careful. He smiled without humor. Always am. Then he was gone, and Elena was alone with Anna and the armed guards and the creeping feeling that the world outside the penthouse was closing in. She tried to distract herself with work, pulled up the club accounts, cross-referenced invoices, lost herself in numbers. But her mind kept wandering to Damien walking into danger, to Marcus lurking somewhere in the city, to Sarah going home unaware of how close the threat really was. At midnight, she gave up on sleep and went to the gym. Practiced the strikes Damien had taught her, footwork, blocks, counters. Her body moved through the motions, muscle memory taking over where conscious thought failed. She was so focused, she didn't hear the door open behind her. Not bad. Elena spun. Damien stood in the doorway, jacket gone, knuckles scraped, a cut above his left eye that was still bleeding sluggishly. What happened to you? She asked. Disagreement about property rights. We reached an understanding. He grabbed a towel from the rack, pressed it against the cut. You're up late. Couldn't sleep, you? Same. He walked to the heavy bag, started wrapping his hands. You want to hit something? I've been hitting things for the past hour. Then hit harder. They worked in silence for a while. Damien on the bag, Elena running drills against the practice dummy. The rhythm of it calmed something in her chest, made the world feel smaller, manageable. Can I ask you something? Elena said between combinations. Sure. When you said old business coming back around, how old are we talking? Damien paused mid-strike. 2 years. Guy I did business with thought he could skim off the top. I corrected that assumption. He took offense. Been making moves against me ever since. Small stuff mostly, vandalism, petty theft. Tonight was the first time he actually drew blood. What are you going to do about it? What I always do. Make it very clear that there are consequences for stupidity. He unwrapped his hands. But that's my problem, not yours. Everything in your life becomes my problem if I'm living here. Exactly why most people don't live here. He sat on the weight bench, studied her. You ever think about what happens when you're strong enough to leave? Where you'll go? What you'll do? Sometimes, I think about going back to teaching, maybe at a different school, different district, somewhere Marcus would never think to look. That's running. What's wrong with running if it keeps me alive? Nothing. If that's really what you want. But I don't think it is. Damien leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You've spent 3 years running from Marcus, from yourself, from the truth of what your life had become. And now you're here, finally getting strong, finally becoming who you were meant to be before he broke you. You really want to go back to hiding, being small, pretending. I want to be normal. Normal is the lie people tell themselves to feel safe. There's no such thing as normal. There's just surviving or not surviving. And you're a survivor, Elena, whether you accept that yet or not. Elena sat beside him on the bench. Their shoulders touched. What if I don't want to be a survivor? What if I just want to be happy? Then you figure out what happiness looks like and you take it. But you do it from a position of strength, not weakness. You do it because you chose it, not because you had no other options. They sat in silence. Elena thought about Sarah's warnings, about the gun in her bedside table, about how comfortable she had become with violence as a solution. I think I'm changing, she said quietly, into someone I don't recognize. You're not changing. You're remembering. The person you are now? She was always there. Marcus just made you forget. How do you know? Because I see her. Every morning when you show up to training, every time you hit the target, every time you stand up straight instead of making yourself small. That's not new. That's you remembering how to take up space. Elena's throat tightened. What if I like taking up space too much? What if I become someone who solves problems with violence instead of words? Then you'll fit right in with the rest of us. Damien's smile was sad. But I don't think that's who you are. I think you're someone who'll use violence when necessary and peace when possible. That's not a monster. That's just practical. Before Elena could respond, his phone buzzed. He checked it, swore softly. What now? Marcus was spotted outside the building 20 minutes ago. My men chased him off, but he made it clear he's not giving up. Damien stood. Starting tomorrow, you don't go anywhere without security. Not to the store, not to coffee, nowhere. Understood? I haven't left the building in a month. And you won't until this is resolved, one way or another. Elena felt the walls closing in. How long can we keep living like this? Looking over our shoulders, waiting for him to make a move. As long as it takes. Or until you decide you're done waiting and make the first move yourself. The implication hung in the air between them. Heavy, unavoidable. You want me to kill him? Elena said. I want you to be prepared to defend yourself. If that results in his death, so be it. But the choice is yours, always. Elena thought about Marcus's hands around her throat, the way he had looked at her through the broken bedroom door like she was prey, the cold certainty in his voice when he said he'd find her. I need more time, she said. Then we'll keep training. But 3 days later, time ran out. Elena was working in Anna's office, reviewing supplier contracts for the restaurants, when the alarm went off. Not the building fire alarm. Something else. Higher pitched, more urgent. Anna appeared in the doorway, face pale. Lockdown protocol. Now. What's happening? Armed men in the lobby. 4 of them. They got past the first security checkpoint. Anna grabbed Elena's arm, pulled her toward the panic room hidden behind a false wall in Damien's office. Mr. Moretti's on his way, but you need to be secured before... The elevator chimed. The doors opened. 3 men stepped out, all armed, all wearing masks. They moved with military precision, sweeping the room, weapons raised. The lead man spotted Elena and Anna. "There's the girlfriend. Grab her." Elena's training kicked in before thought. She shoved Anna toward the office, slammed the door, locked it, turned to face the men with her heart hammering and Damien's voice in her head. "Distance is your best defense. Create it." She ran, not toward the bedrooms where she'd be trapped, toward the kitchen, open space, multiple exits, room to move. The men followed, fast, professional. Elena grabbed a knife from the block on the counter. Not the best weapon, but better than nothing. She held it the way Damien taught her, blade down, ready to thrust, not slash. "Easy now," the lead man said, raising his hands. "We're not here to hurt you. Just coming along quiet and nobody gets..." Elena threw the knife. It hit him in the shoulder, sank deep. He screamed, staggered back. The other 2 rushed her. Elena grabbed a cast-iron skillet from the stove, swung it like a baseball bat. Connected with the first man's temple. He went down hard. The second man tackled her, drove her into the kitchen island. Pain exploded through her ribs, old injuries screaming. She brought her knee up, groin shot, just like Damien taught. The man grunted, loosened his grip. Elena twisted, got her elbow under his chin, drove upward, felt cartilage crunch. He released her, clutching his throat. She ran again, this time toward her bedroom, toward the Glock in her nightstand. Footsteps behind her, heavy, fast. She made it to her room, slammed the door, threw the lock, grabbed the gun case, hands shaking so badly she could barely work the combination. The door shattered inward. The lead man stood there, knife still in his shoulder, gun in his hand, eyes wild with pain and rage. "You little bitch," he snarled. "I'm going to..." Elena raised the Glock. No conscious thought, just training, muscle memory, breathed through the shot. She pulled the trigger. The recoil kicked back. The bullet punched through the man's chest. He looked down at the blood spreading across his shirt, surprised. Then he fell. Elena stood frozen, gun still raised, ears ringing from the shot in the enclosed space. The man on her floor wasn't moving, wasn't breathing, was very, very dead. She had killed him. The thought should have made her collapse, should have broken her, but instead she felt cold, calm, clear. Footsteps in the hallway. She raised the gun again. "Elena!" Damien's voice. "Stand down. It's me." He appeared in the doorway, took in the scene, the dead man, the gun in Elena's hands, the splatter on the wall behind her. "You okay?" he asked. "I killed him." "I see that. Are you hurt?" Elena did a mental inventory. Bruised ribs, scraped knuckles. Nothing serious. "No." "Good." Damien pulled out his phone, made a call. "Send cleanup to the penthouse, 3 hostiles down." "Yes, all of them." "No, she's fine." He hung up, walked over slowly. "Elena, I need you to give me the gun." She lowered it, let him take it from her shaking hands. "Who were they?" she asked. "Wasn't Marcus. These were professionals, hired by the guy who hit my warehouse. He wanted leverage. Thought taking you would make me back off." Damien's jaw tightened. He was wrong. "Are there more coming?" "No, my men took out the rest downstairs. This is over." Elena looked at the body on her floor, at the blood pooling around it, at the man she had killed to stay alive. "I shot him," she said. Needed to say it out loud. Make it real. "You defended yourself. That's what I trained you to do." I didn't hesitate. "Good. Hesitation gets you killed." Damien touched her shoulder gently. "How are you feeling?" Elena thought about that, waited for the guilt, the horror, the breakdown, but all she felt was tired and weirdly proud. "I'm okay," she said. "Is that wrong? Should I feel worse?" "You should feel whatever you feel. There's no right answer." He guided her away from the body, out into the hallway. "But for what it's worth, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm proud of you. You did exactly what you needed to do." Anna appeared, face pale but composed. Security is securing the building. Police will need a statement. No police, Damien said. This gets handled internally. Sir, there are bodies which will be gone in an hour. Elena was never here. This was a break-in attempt that my security team stopped. Understood? Anna nodded. Disappeared to make arrangements. Elena let Damien lead her to his office, pour her whiskey, wrap a blanket around her shoulders. She sat in his chair and stared at nothing while cleanup crews worked in her bedroom and the building gradually returned to normal. This is my fault, Damien said finally. I brought you into my world, made you a target. I should have— Stop, Elena interrupted. This isn't your fault. And I'm not a victim anymore. I made a choice to stay, to learn, to fight. What happened today? That's on the men who broke in here. Not on you. Not on me. On them. Damien looked at her with something like wonder. You really believe that? Yeah, I do. Elena met his eyes. And I need you to believe it too. Because I'm not going anywhere. Not because some asshole thinks I'm leverage. Not because it's dangerous. I'm staying until I'm ready to leave on my own terms. Understood? A smile tugged at Damien's mouth. The first real smile she had seen from him. Understood. Later that night, after the cleanup crews left and the building was secure and Anna had gone home, Elena found herself unable to sleep again. She wandered to the kitchen. Different kitchen, the one in the formal dining area, not the one where she'd fought 3 men. Damien was already there, making coffee at 2 a.m. Can't sleep either? She asked. Not when my people are in danger. He poured 2 cups. You handled yourself well today. I was terrified. Being terrified and being effective aren't mutually exclusive. You stayed calm. You fought smart. You survived. That's all that matters. They stood in the dark kitchen drinking coffee, not talking about the dead man Elena had left on her bedroom floor or the fact that she didn't feel guilty about it. What happens now? Elena asked. Now I deal with the man who sent them. Make sure he understands that going after you was the last mistake he'll ever make. And Marcus? Marcus is next. He escalated by coming to the building. He forced my hand, so we end it. Damien set down his cup. But that's my problem to solve, not yours. What if I want to help solve it? Then you're crazier than I thought. Maybe I am. Maybe that's what survival looks like. Elena finished her coffee. I killed a man today, Damien. Shot him in the chest and watched him die. And I don't feel bad about it. I feel relieved. Does that make me a monster? No. It makes you someone who understands that the world isn't fair and survival isn't pretty. Welcome to reality. It's ugly here. Elena laughed. Couldn't help it. The absurdity of standing in a billionaire's kitchen at 2 a.m. discussing murder like it was a spreadsheet problem was too much. Damien laughed too, and for a moment they weren't protector and protected. They were just 2 broken people trying to survive in a world that kept trying to break them further. Thank you, Elena said. For what? For seeing me. The real me. Not the victim, not the project. Just me. Damien's expression softened. That's easy. You're worth seeing. The moment stretched between them, weighted with things neither of them knew how to say. Then Damien stepped back, cleared his throat, rebuilt the walls. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we're doubling your weapons training and learning proper knife work. If you're going to throw them, you need to know how to make it count. Yes, sir? She turned to leave. His voice stopped her. Elena? Yeah? I'm glad you're okay. Really glad. She smiled. Me too. As she walked back to her temporary bedroom, the guest suite, since her room was still being cleaned, Elena realized something had shifted. She wasn't the same woman who had stumbled into the ER 6 weeks ago. Wasn't even the same woman who had walked into this penthouse a month ago. She was someone new, someone harder, someone who could kill to survive and live with that choice. And she wasn't sure if that was terrible or necessary or both. But she knew one thing for certain, she was finally, truly alive. And nobody was ever going to take that away from her again. The man who had sent the attackers was found 3 days later floating in the river with his hands zip-tied behind his back. The news called it a gangland execution. Damien called it closure. Elena didn't ask questions. She was learning that some things were better left in the dark corners where they belonged. What she did ask about was Marcus. Because 2 weeks after the attack on the penthouse, he was still out there, still watching, still waiting for his opening. Why haven't you dealt with him? She asked Damien one morning during knife training. They were in the gym, Elena practicing throws against a target board while Damien corrected her grip. Because that's not my choice to make, he said. It's yours. Elena paused mid-throw. What does that mean? It means Marcus is your demon. You get to decide how it ends. I can make him disappear quietly, can have him arrested on charges that'll stick, can put enough fear into him that he runs and never comes back. Or, he handed her another knife. You can face him yourself. End it on your terms. You want me to kill him. I want you to choose. Big difference. Damien leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You've been training for 2 months. You're good. Better than good. You can shoot, fight, read a room, handle yourself under pressure, but you're still living like you're waiting for someone else to save you. At some point, you have to save yourself. Elena threw the knife. It hit the target dead center. I already did save myself. I left him. I called you. I'm here. You escaped him. That's not the same as being free. He's still in your head, still making decisions for you. You won't leave the building because you're afraid he's out there. You flinch when the elevator opens. You check every corner before you enter a room. That's not freedom. That's just a nicer cage. So what do you suggest? I march up to him and shoot him in broad daylight? I suggest you stop letting him control your life. However that looks for you. Damien pushed off the wall, walked over. You're strong enough now, Elena. Strong enough to stand on your own. Strong enough to fight your own battles. The question is whether you believe that yet. Elena wanted to argue. Wanted to say it wasn't that simple. But she knew he was right. She had been hiding behind Damien's protection, telling herself she was training when really she was just delaying the inevitable confrontation. I need to think about it, she said. Take your time. He's not going anywhere. My men have eyes on him 24/7. But Elle? Damien's voice softened. Thinking about it and doing something about it are different things. Eventually, you're going to have to choose action over contemplation. That afternoon, Elena returned to work for the first time since the attack. Not teaching, she wasn't ready for that yet, but helping Anna full-time with the business operations. She had a desk now in Anna's office, a computer, actual responsibilities beyond just organizing files. You're good at this, Anna said, reviewing Elena's analysis of the nightclub profit margins. You see patterns I miss. I like puzzles. Numbers make sense. People don't. People make perfect sense once you realize everyone wants something. Figure out what that is, you can predict behavior. Anna handed back the report. Mr. Moretti wants to expand into 2 more properties downtown. Can you run the projections? Elena spent the next 3 hours buried in spreadsheets, modeling revenue scenarios, analyzing demographic data. It was peaceful, methodical, a problem she could solve with logic instead of violence. She was so focused she didn't notice Damien enter until he set a coffee cup on her desk. Anna says you've been at this for 5 hours straight, he said. Elena blinked, looked at the clock. 6:30 p.m. I didn't realize. When's the last time you ate? Lunch, I think. That's not good enough. He gestured to the door. Come on, dinner. They ate in the penthouse, just the 2 of them. Anna had left for the day. The armed guards were posted outside. It felt intimate in a way that made Elena's chest tight. Damien had cooked. Actual cooking, not takeout. Pasta with homemade sauce, garlic bread, salad. It was surprisingly good. Where did you learn to cook? Elena asked. My mother. Before she died, she insisted I know how to take care of myself, said men who can't cook are helpless and helpless men are dangerous. He smiled at the memory. She was usually right about things. How old were you when you lost her? 17. Cancer. Fast and mean. She was gone 6 months after diagnosis. Damien's expression went distant. My father fell apart after, threw himself into the business, started making reckless decisions, got himself killed 2 years later, left me with an empire I barely understood and enemies I didn't know existed. That's when you had to grow up fast. That's when I had to become someone I never wanted to be. He met her eyes. But it kept Isabella safe. For a while, anyway. Until it didn't. They ate in silence for a moment. Elena thought about the weight Damien carried, the sister he couldn't save, the empire built on violence, the careful distance he maintained from anything resembling happiness. Can I ask you something personal? She said. Haven't you been doing that for 2 months? This is different. Elena set down her fork. Why don't you date? Anna mentioned once that you never bring anyone here. Never go out with anyone? Why? Damien's jaw tightened. Because getting close to me gets people killed. I learned that lesson with Isabella, not repeating it. That's lonely. That's safe. For who? You or them? Both. He stood, started clearing plates. I'm not a good bet, Elena. I live in a world where threats come from every direction, and trust is currency I can't afford to spend. Anyone who gets involved with me becomes a target. I won't do that to someone. Not again. Elena followed him to the kitchen. What about me? I'm involved. I live here. I work for you. I'm already a target. That's different. You're here because you need protection, because I'm teaching you to survive. There's an end date, a point where you leave and build your own life away from all this. He rinsed dishes with sharp, precise movements. What I'm talking about is permanent entanglement. That's off the table. Why? Because I care about you too much to destroy you. The words hung in the air, raw, honest. Damien looked like he regretted them immediately. Elena crossed to him, put her hand over his on the faucet. What if I'm already destroyed? What if this is me rebuilding and maybe, just maybe, I want you in whatever life I build next? You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not Isabella. I'm not fragile. I'm not someone who needs to be protected from reality. I've seen your world. I've lived in it. I killed a man in my bedroom and didn't fall apart. I'm still standing, still fighting, still here. Damien turned to face her. His eyes were storm dark, conflicted. You think you want this now because I saved you, because I gave you shelter when you had nothing. That's not love. That's gratitude, and gratitude fades. You're right, I am grateful, but that's not why I... Elena stopped herself, took a breath. I'm not asking for forever. I'm not asking for anything except honesty. Do you feel something for me beyond obligation, beyond guilt over your sister, beyond just wanting to fix a broken thing? For a long moment, Damien said nothing, just looked at her with an expression Elena couldn't read. Then he stepped back, putting distance between them. What I feel doesn't matter. You're here to heal, to get strong, to build a life that doesn't include violence and danger. Getting involved with me would compromise all of that. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting. He dried his hands, tossed the towel on the counter. I have work to do. You should get some rest. He walked out before Elena could argue. She stood in the kitchen alone, feeling the sting of rejection and wondering if he was protecting her or protecting himself. The next morning, Elena woke to find a note slipped under her door. Damien's handwriting, sharp and precise. Take the day off. Go see your sister. Guards will escort you. Be back by 6. It was the first time in 2 months he had let her leave the building. Elena dressed quickly, nerves and excitement warring in her chest. Sarah met her at a coffee shop downtown, pulled her into a fierce hug the moment she arrived. Oh my God, you're outside, Sarah said. I was starting to think you were never coming out. I wasn't sure I would either. Elena ordered coffee, found a table in the corner where the guards could watch from a distance. How are you? How's Tom? We're good. Worried about you. Tom wants to meet this mysterious benefactor of yours. Maybe someday. Elle, it's been 2 months. You're living with this guy, working for him, and we still don't know anything about him except his name and that he's rich and dangerous. That's not normal. Nothing about my life is normal anymore. Elena sipped her coffee. But I'm okay. Better than okay. I'm strong now, capable. I can take care of myself. Sarah studied her. You do look different. Harder. Is that a good thing? It's a necessary thing. Elena paused. Marcus is still out there, still watching, still waiting. I need to deal with that before I can move forward. Deal with it how? Elena didn't answer. Couldn't, because she still didn't know. They talked for 2 hours. About Sarah's job, Tom's promotion, their plans to buy a house in the suburbs. Normal things, safe things. The kind of life Elena used to dream about, and now couldn't imagine. When it was time to leave, Sarah walked her to the car where Damien's guards waited. I miss you, Sarah said. The real you. Not this new person you're becoming. I'm still me. Just a version that refuses to be a victim. There's a difference between refusing to be a victim and becoming someone who solves problems with violence. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, violence is the only thing that ever worked. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Please don't lose yourself in his world. Please remember who you were before all this. I remember perfectly. I was a woman making excuses for a man who was killing me. I'm never going back to that. Elena hugged her sister. I love you. But I need you to trust that I know what I'm doing. The drive back to the penthouse was quiet. Elena stared out the window at the city passing by, thinking about Sarah's words, about the distance growing between them, about how the old Elena would have apologized, smoothed things over, made herself smaller to make her sister comfortable. The new Elena just felt tired. When she got back, Damien was in his office with 3 men Elena didn't recognize. They stopped talking the moment she appeared in the doorway. I'll be another hour, Damien said. Make yourself comfortable. Elena nodded, started to leave. Actually, one of the men said, this concerns her. She should stay. Damien's expression darkened. I'll decide what concerns her. With respect, sir, Marcus Torres made contact. Says he wants to negotiate. Elena froze. Negotiate what? The man looked at Damien, who nodded permission. He says he'll leave the city, disappear, never contact you again. All he wants is a conversation. Face to face, you and him. No guards, no interference. That's a trap, Damien said flatly. Obviously, but he's offering proof of good faith, says he'll meet somewhere public, daylight, witnesses everywhere, just wants to talk. Elena's heart hammered. Where? Riverside Park. Tomorrow at noon. Says he'll be alone. He's lying, Damien said. He'll have backup. A weapon. A plan to take you the moment you're in reach. Probably, the man agreed. But our surveillance shows he's getting desperate, broke, isolated. Most of his contacts have dried up. This might be his last play before he either gives up or does something stupid. Elena looked at Damien. What do you think? I think it's a terrible idea and you shouldn't even consider it. But if I said I wanted to go, then I'd say you're out of your mind and I'd try to talk you out of it. He dismissed the men with a gesture. They left quickly, closing the door behind them. Elena sat in the chair across from his desk. This could be my chance to end it, on my terms, face to face. Or it could be your chance to get killed by an abusive ex who spent 2 months planning your murder. You'll have guards nearby, watching. If anything goes wrong, you could be dead before they reach you. Is that really a risk you want to take? Elena thought about the past 2 months. The training, the growing strength, the woman she had become. You told me I needed to stop letting him control my life. This is me taking that control back. I meant metaphorically, not by walking into an obvious trap. What if it's not a trap? What if he really does want to leave, to end this? Men like Marcus don't just walk away. They escalate until someone stops them permanently. Damien leaned forward. I've seen this play out 100 times. He gets you close, says everything you want to hear, makes you believe he's changed. Then he strikes, and you're too close to defend yourself effectively. Then teach me how to defend myself up close. Give me a weapon he won't see coming. Make sure I'm ready for whatever he tries. Damien closed his eyes, rubbed his temples. You're going to do this no matter what I say, aren't you? I need to face him. Need to prove to myself that I'm not afraid anymore. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm doing it for me. Elena's voice was steady, certain. I've spent 2 months preparing for this, training for this. One way or another, Marcus and I are going to have a final conversation. I'd rather do it on my terms, in public, with your guards watching, than wait for him to ambush me somewhere I'm not expecting it. Damien was quiet for a long time, then he sighed. You're going to give me a heart attack before you're 30. Is that a yes? It's a yes with conditions. You wear a wire so I can hear everything. You carry a weapon I choose and train you on. You stay in the open where my men have clear lines of sight. And the second, the absolute second, anything feels wrong, you get out. No hesitation, no trying to talk it through. You run and let my people handle it. Agreed? Agreed. And Elena? His eyes were hard. If he tries anything, you don't hesitate. You do what you have to do to survive. I don't care if there are witnesses. I don't care about consequences. You protect yourself first. Everything else is secondary. I understand. That night, Damien spent 3 hours preparing her. He gave her a ceramic knife small enough to hide in her jacket sleeve, taught her how to deploy it in close quarters, drilled her on defensive positions until her muscles ached. He showed her where his men would be stationed, what signals to use if she needed help, how to move through a crowd to create distance if Marcus came at her. "Remember," he said, "you're not trying to win a fight. You're trying to survive long enough for help to arrive. There's a difference." "I know." "Do you?" "Because I've seen people freeze when it's someone they used to care about. Your brain remembers the good times and hesitates. You can't afford that luxury." "I won't freeze." "You better not. Because if something happens to you, I'll burn this whole city down to find who's responsible. And I mean that literally." Elena touched his face. "I'll be fine." Damien caught her hand, held it. "You better be. I'm not losing someone else I care about. Not again." "You care about me." "Obviously." "Then why won't you?" "Because caring about you and being good for you are different things. I'm a danger to everyone who gets close. The sooner you accept that and build a life without me in it, the better off you'll be." "What if I don't want a life without you in it?" Damien pulled away. "Then you're not thinking clearly, and tomorrow you need to be clear, focused, present. So get some sleep. We'll talk about this after Marcus is handled." Elena didn't sleep. She lay awake thinking about the confrontation tomorrow, about Marcus and his empty promises, about Damien and his careful walls, about the woman she used to be and the woman she was becoming, and whether they could exist in the same body. Morning came too fast. Damien insisted on breakfast, made her eat even though her stomach was twisted in knots, checked her wire 3 times, made her practice drawing the ceramic knife until she could do it without thinking. "You ready?" he asked. "No, but I'm doing it anyway." That's the only kind of ready that matters. They drove to Riverside Park in silence. Damien's men were already in position, 2 joggers, a homeless man on a bench, a couple having a picnic, all armed, all watching. Damien walked Elena to the edge of the park. "He's near the fountain, alone as far as we can tell. But stay alert. Trust your instincts. And remember, I know, survive first, everything else is secondary." Damien looked like he wanted to say something else. Instead, he just nodded. "I'll be listening. Good luck." Elena walked into the park alone. Marcus was exactly where Damien said he'd be. Standing by the fountain, hands in his pockets, looking smaller than she remembered. Older, worn down by months of running and hiding and losing. He saw her approach, smiled. That same charming smile that had won her over 3 years ago. "Elena, you came. I'm here. Say what you need to say." "Can we sit?" He gestured to a bench near the fountain, public, visible, non-threatening. Elena sat, keeping distance between them. Her hand brushed the knife in her sleeve. "Ready." Marcus sat beside her, careful not to get too close. "You look good. Healthy. Strong. What do you want, Marcus?" "I want to apologize. For everything. I was a monster. I know that now. The things I did to you." His voice cracked. "There's no excuse, no justification. I was angry and broken, and I took it out on you, and that's unforgivable." Elena said nothing, just watched him, looking for tells for the moment the mask slipped. "I've been in therapy," Marcus continued, "working on myself, trying to understand why I became that person. And I realized I need to let you go. Actually let you go. No more watching, no more waiting. You deserve to be free, to be happy." "Why now? Why this sudden change of heart?" "Because I'm tired, Elle. Tired of running. Tired of being angry. Tired of letting my worst impulses control me. I want to be better, but I can't do that while I'm still holding on to you." He pulled an envelope from his jacket. "Divorce papers. We were never married, but I had a lawyer draw up a legal separation agreement. Sign it, and we're done. Completely. Forever." Elena took the envelope. The papers looked real. Official. "You expect me to believe you're just walking away?" she asked. "I know it sounds crazy, but yeah. I'm getting a job in Seattle, fresh start, clean slate. I leave in 3 days. Just wanted to say goodbye properly, to give you closure." Elena watched his eyes, his hands, looking for the shift in weight that would signal an attack. But Marcus just sat there, looking tired and defeated and genuinely remorseful. I don't trust you, Elena said. I know. I don't blame you, but I'm telling the truth. I'm done, Elena. You won. You got away. You built a new life. I respect that. I'm just asking for a chance to build one too. Somewhere far from here, somewhere I can't hurt you anymore. Elena's grip on the knife loosened slightly. If you're lying, I'm not. I swear. I just want to move on. We both deserve that. He stood slowly, hands visible. I'm going to go now. You can keep those papers, but sign them or don't. Either way, I won't bother you again. He took 2 steps away, then turned back. For what it's worth, I did love you. I just didn't know how to love you right. I'm sorry I broke you. You didn't break me, Elena said quietly. You just reminded me I could survive anything, even you. Marcus smiled, sad, genuine. Goodbye, Elena. He walked away. Elena sat on the bench, papers in hand, watching him disappear into the crowd, waiting for the trap to spring, for the attack to come, but nothing happened. Marcus just walked away and kept walking until he was gone. Damien appeared beside her 60 seconds later. He's clear of the park. My men are tailing him. So far, no backup, no weapons, no suspicious activity. He just left, Elena said. Said he's moving to Seattle, starting over. You believe him? I don't know. Maybe. He seemed different. Tired. Tired men are the most dangerous kind. They've got nothing left to lose. Damien sat beside her, scanned the park. My men will keep eyes on him until he's out of the city. If this is real, he'll leave and never come back. If it's a con, we'll know soon enough. Elena looked at the papers in her hands, the legal proof that Marcus was willing to let her go. What if he means it? What if he really is walking away? Then you got your miracle. But I wouldn't count on it. They sat in silence, watching the fountain, waiting for the other shoe to drop. It dropped 3 hours later. Elena was back at the penthouse, reviewing the legal papers with a lawyer Damien had on retainer, when Damien's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression going dark. When? Pause. How many? Another pause. I'll be there in 10 minutes. He hung up, looked at Elena. Marcus hit one of my warehouses, killed 2 guards, stole everything of value, left a message spray-painted on the wall. Come find me. Elena's blood went cold. It was a distraction. The park, the papers, all of it. Classic misdirection. Get you to believe he's changed while he makes his real move. Damien grabbed his jacket. He wanted my attention off him long enough to hit back. Now he's got it. Where is he? Holed up in an abandoned factory across town. My men have it surrounded. He's got hostages, 3 warehouse workers he grabbed during the raid. He's baiting you. Obviously. Damien checked his gun, which is why I'm going in fast and loud. End this tonight. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. He did this because of me. Those hostages are in danger because he's trying to get to me through you. I'm not sitting here while other people die for my mistakes. This isn't your fight, Elena. Like hell it isn't. You told me I needed to stop letting him control my life. This is me taking control. I face him. I end this. Tonight. Damien looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Get your gun. We leave in 5 minutes. The factory was dark when they arrived. Damien's men had set up a perimeter, snipers on rooftops, tactical teams ready to breach. But Damien held them back. He wants an audience, Damien said, studying the building through binoculars. He's expecting a show. We give him one, those hostages die the moment we breach. So what's the play? Elena asked. You and I go in, alone. He wants confrontation, we give it to him. My men wait for my signal, then they come in hard. That's insane. You have a better idea? Elena didn't. They entered through the main door. Unlocked, open. An invitation. Inside, the factory was cavernous and dark. Machinery long abandoned, rust and decay everywhere. Marcus stood in the center under a single overhead light, gun in hand, 3 workers zip-tied on the floor beside him. There she is, Marcus said, smiling. My beautiful Elena, and her knight in expensive armor. Took you long enough. Let them go, Damien said. This is between you and me. Wrong. This is between me and her. You're just collateral damage. Marcus pointed the gun at Elena. Did you really think I'd just walk away? After everything I invested in you? All the time I spent training you to be exactly what I needed? You didn't train me, Elena said. You abused me. Same thing. I made you who you are. Taught you to fear, to obey, to understand consequences. He kicked one of the hostages. These people. They're consequences. For leaving me, for embarrassing me, for thinking you could just start over like I never existed. What do you want? Elena asked. I want you to come home. I want you to apologize. I want you to admit that everything that happened was your fault for being weak and stupid and needing to be taught basic respect. Marcus's voice rose. And then I want to spend the next 10 years reminding you every single day why you don't leave me. That's not happening. Then these people die. All three of them. Right now. In front of you. He aimed at the first hostage's head. Your choice, Elena. You or them. Don't, Damien said quietly. He's bluffing. Am I? Marcus fired. The bullet hit the concrete 6 inches from the hostage's head. The man screamed. Next one goes in his brain. You want that on your conscience? Elena stepped forward. Okay, let them go, and I'll come with you. Elena, no, Damien said. I'm not letting innocent people die because of me. She moved toward Marcus. Let them go. I'll get in your car. We'll leave. Just let them go. Marcus smiled. That's my girl. Always so noble. So self-sacrificing. He gestured with the gun. Closer. Elena took another step, then another, close enough to touch, close enough to see the madness in Marcus's eyes. On your knees, he said. Elena knelt. Now apologize. I'm sorry. For what? For leaving you. For making you angry. For... Marcus hit her across the face with the gun. Elena's head snapped sideways, blood filling her mouth. Wrong answer. Try again. What are you really sorry for? Elena looked up at him, tasted blood, felt the ceramic knife against her forearm. Damien's voice in her head. Survive first, everything else is secondary. I'm sorry, she said clearly, that you're too stupid to see the trap you walked into. She moved fast, drew the knife, drove it upward into Marcus's thigh, buried it to the hilt. He screamed, staggered back. The gun went off wild. Elena rolled, came up in a crouch. Damien was already moving, crossed the distance in 3 strides, disarmed Marcus with brutal efficiency, drove him to the ground. Hostages, clear! Damien shouted. His men poured in through every entrance, weapons raised. Marcus lay on the concrete, bleeding, crying, the knife still in his leg. You bitch, you stabbed me. You actually stabbed me. Yeah, Elena said, standing over him. I did. And I'd do it again and again and again until you finally understood that I'm not yours anymore. I'm not anyone's. I'm mine. Medical teams rushed in, secured the hostages, restrained Marcus. Someone tried to pull Elena away, but she shook them off, staying where she was, watching Marcus bleed and whimper, and finally understand that he had lost. Damien appeared beside her. You okay? Yeah, I think I am. Elena touched her bleeding lip. Is it over? It's over. He's going to prison for a long time. Kidnapping. Assault. Attempted murder. He's done. Elena nodded. Felt something inside her chest uncurl. Something that had been wound tight for 3 years. I want to go home, she said. The penthouse? Yeah. Home. Damien put his arm around her shoulders, led her out of the factory, past the police cars and ambulances and gathered crowd, into the car, into safety, into the first real breath of freedom Elena had taken in 3 years. Later that night, cleaned up and bandaged and finally able to think clearly, Elena found Damien on the rooftop terrace. He stood at the edge, looking out at the city, a glass of whiskey in his hand. Couldn't sleep? She asked. Never can after a night like this. He handed her the glass. She took a sip, warm and smooth. You did good today, stayed calm, made the right call. I stabbed someone, in self-defense, after exhausting all other options. That's not murder, that's survival. Elena drank again. What happens now? Now you heal. Take some time. Figure out what you want your life to look like. Damien paused. Anna mentioned you've been talking about going back to teaching. Different school, different district, fresh start. I've been thinking about it, but I've also been thinking about staying, Working with you, using what I've learned. She set down the glass. I'm good at what I do, Damien. The business analysis, the strategic planning. I like it. And I'm good at it. You'd be wasted on my legitimate operations. You could work anywhere, make twice what I pay you. I don't care about the money. I care about the work, about the challenge. She turned to face him. And maybe I care about working with someone who sees me as an equal instead of a victim or a problem to solve. Damien looked at her, something vulnerable in his eyes. You're not staying for the work. No, I'm not. Elena, I know what you're going to say, that I'm confusing gratitude for something else, that you're dangerous, that everyone who gets close to you gets hurt. But here's the thing, Damien, I'm already close. I already know the risks. I already chose this, and I'm still choosing it. You don't understand what you're asking for. Then explain it to me. Stop hiding behind excuses and tell me the truth. Do you want me here or not? For a long moment, Damien said nothing. Then he reached out, touched her face where Marcus had hit her, gentle, despite his scarred knuckles. I want you here, he said quietly. I want you here so badly it scares me. Because everyone I've ever wanted to protect, I've failed. My mother, Isabella. People who trusted me and died because I couldn't save them. I won't survive failing you too. Then don't fail me. Just be here. Be present. Let me choose my own risks. Elena covered his hand with hers. I'm not asking you to save me. I'm asking you to stand beside me while I save myself. That's different. Damien's jaw tightened. What if I can't be what you need? What if you already are? He pulled her close then, held her like she was something precious and breakable. Elena wrapped her arms around him and felt the tension drain from his body. This is a terrible idea, he murmured into her hair. Most of the best things are. They stood on the rooftop, holding each other, while the city sprawled below them and the future waited, uncertain and terrifying and full of possibility. 3 months after Marcus went to prison, Elena returned to teaching, not at her old school, not even in the same district. She took a position at a charter school on the west side, working with kids who reminded her of herself at that age. Scared, uncertain, learning to navigate a world that felt too big and too dangerous. She understood them in a way most teachers couldn't. Understood what it meant to feel powerless and how much difference one person's belief could make. The principal had been hesitant at first when Elena explained the gap in her resume. But Damien had made a phone call, just one, and suddenly the hesitation disappeared. Elena pretended not to notice. She was learning that Damien's influence reached into corners of the city she hadn't imagined, and sometimes it was easier to accept help than to fight about pride. How was your first day? Damien asked that night over dinner. They ate together now most evenings, a routine that had developed naturally after the night on the rooftop. Sometimes Anna joined them. Sometimes it was just the two of them, talking about everything and nothing while the city lights flickered beyond the windows. Exhausting. One of my students told me I looked too mean to be a teacher. Elena smiled at the memory. I told her mean teachers are the ones who care enough to push you. She seemed satisfied with that answer. You're not mean. You're direct. There's a difference. Tell that to the parents who complained I gave their daughter a C on her essay. Apparently everyone deserves an A for effort. Damien laughed. Welcome back to the real world, where mediocrity gets rewarded and excellence makes people uncomfortable. I miss this. Teaching, feeling useful in a way that isn't about survival or strategy or watching for threats. You can do both, you know. Be useful here and useful in my world. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Elena had continued working with Anna on the business operations, spending her afternoons after school analyzing accounts and streamlining processes. She had a gift for it, Anna said, could see inefficiencies others missed, and wasn't afraid to suggest radical solutions. Damien had started bringing her into larger strategic conversations, asking her opinion on property acquisitions and partnership deals. She was good at reading people now, at seeing what they wanted and how to leverage that into favorable terms. I like having both, Elena admitted. The teaching keeps me grounded. The work with you keeps me sharp. And what about us? What does that keep you? Elena met his eyes across the table. Honest. They had been navigating this new territory carefully for 3 months. Not quite together, but not quite apart. Damien still maintained his walls, still pulled back when things felt too intimate. But the walls were thinner now, easier to see through, and Elena was patient. She had learned patience in the hardest possible way. Sarah called today, Elena said, changing the subject. She and Tom set a wedding date, June. She wants me to be maid of honor. That's good. You two are talking again? We're working on it. She's still not thrilled about my living situation, but she's trying to understand. Elena pushed food around her plate. She asked if I was bringing a date to the wedding. What did you tell her? That I'd let her know closer to the date. Elena paused. What would you say if I asked you to come with me? Damien set down his fork. I'd say that's probably not a good idea. Why not? Because your sister already thinks I'm a bad influence. Showing up to her wedding would just confirm every suspicion she has about me corrupting you. I'm not corruptible. I'm just becoming who I always should have been. Same thing from her perspective. Damien stood, started clearing plates. Besides, weddings aren't really my scene. Too much happiness. Too many promises people won't keep. Cynical much. Realistic. I've seen enough marriages fall apart to know that the ceremony is the easy part. It's the years after that break people. Elena followed him to the kitchen. Is that why you never got married? Because you don't believe in it? I never got married because my life doesn't leave room for that kind of commitment. You can't promise forever to someone when you might not make it to next year. That's a cop-out and you know it. Damien turned to face her. Is it? Because last time I checked, I've had 3 attempts on my life in the past 5 years. I've made enemies out of people with long memories and deep pockets. Any woman who ties herself to me is painting a target on her back. I won't do that to someone I care about. What if that someone is willing to take the risk? Then that someone isn't thinking clearly. He dried his hands, tossed the towel on the counter. Elena, what we have right now, it works. You're safe. You're building a life. Don't complicate it by trying to make it something it can't be. What if I want complications? Then you're asking the wrong person to give them to you. He left the kitchen before Elena could argue. She stood alone, frustrated and hurt and angry at how easily he could shut down conversations he didn't want to have. But she also understood. Damien had spent his entire adult life protecting himself from attachment, from vulnerability, from the kind of pain that came from losing people you loved. Teaching him to open up was going to take more than 3 months and a few late-night conversations. So Elena did what she always did now. She gave him space, focused on her own work, trusted that he would come around when he was ready. 2 weeks later, everything changed. Elena was leaving school on a Thursday afternoon when a black sedan pulled up beside her. The window rolled down. A man she didn't recognize smiled at her from the driver's seat. Miss Whitmore, Mr. Volkov would like a word. Elena's blood went cold. Victor Volkov, the man Damien had mentioned once in passing, an old rival, a constant threat, someone who had been quiet for too long. Damien had people watching Volkov, but clearly not closely enough. I don't know any Volkov, Elena said, stepping back. He knows you. Says you're very important to Damien Moretti. Says he'd like to discuss that importance over coffee. Very civilized, very public, your choice entirely. Elena thought about running, about calling Damien, about pulling the gun she now carried everywhere in her purse. But she also thought about those kids inside the school, about the bystanders on the sidewalk, about what would happen if she escalated this into violence in front of witnesses. Where? She asked. The cafe 2 blocks west. I'll drive you. Or you can walk. Makes no difference to me. I'll walk. Smart lady. Mr. Volkov will meet you there in 10 minutes. The sedan pulled away. Elena stood on the sidewalk, hands shaking, mind racing. She should call Damien, should tell him what was happening, but some instinct told her that bringing Damien into this would make things worse. Volkov wanted a conversation. Fine. She'd give him one. On her terms. She walked to the cafe, every sense on high alert. Spotted Damien's guards immediately, 2 of them, positioned across the street, watching her. Good. They'd report back. Backup would come if needed. Victor Volkov sat at a corner table, sipping espresso, looking like someone's wealthy uncle. Late 50s, expensive suit, kind eyes that didn't match the reputation. He stood when Elena approached, offered his hand. Miss Whitmore, thank you for agreeing to meet. Elena didn't shake his hand, sat across from him, keeping the table between them. What do you want? Straight to the point. I like that. Damien always did have good taste. Volkov signaled the waiter, ordered Elena a coffee without asking what she wanted. I won't waste your time. I'm here to make you an offer. I'm not interested. You haven't heard it yet. I don't need to. Anything you're offering comes with strings I can't afford. Volkov smiled. You're smarter than I expected. Damien's told you about me, I assume, painted me as the villain in his story. Are you saying you're not? I'm saying that history is written by whoever survives to tell it. Damien and I have a complicated past, disagreements over territory, over methods, over philosophy, but I've never wished him harm. Not really. We're both businessmen trying to survive in a difficult industry. Businessmen don't send armed men to kidnap people. Volkov's expression darkened. I had nothing to do with that. That was Sergei Petrov, a short-sighted fool who thought he could use you as leverage. I made my position on that very clear after Damien dealt with him. Violence against non-combatants is bad business, creates feuds that last generations. Then why are you here? Because I'm tired of this Cold War with Damien, tired of watching my back, tired of wasting resources on a rivalry that benefits neither of us. He leaned forward. I want peace, real peace. But Damien won't negotiate with me directly. He's too proud, too stubborn. So I'm asking you to act as intermediary. Convince him to meet with me. One conversation, terms he sets, location he chooses. Just a chance to end this before more people die. Elena studied him, looking for the trap, the angle. Why would Damien listen to me? Because he cares about you, more than he's cared about anyone in years. Anna's told me he's different now, softer, more human. That's your influence. If anyone can convince him that peace is preferable to endless war, it's you. You have spies in his organization. I have friends who see the bigger picture. Anna's one of them. She's known me since I was young and stupid, knows I'm not the monster Damien thinks I am. Volkov finished his espresso. I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to consider the possibility that this war serves no one's interests, and that maybe, just maybe, it's time for a different approach. Elena's mind raced. This could be exactly what Volkov said, a genuine peace offering, or it could be an elaborate trap designed to get Damien somewhere vulnerable. There was no way to know for certain. I'll think about it, she said. That's all I ask. You have my number now. He stood, dropped cash on the table to cover both coffees. One more thing, Miss Whitmore. Damien is lucky to have you. Don't let him push you away out of fear. Men like us, we're very good at destroying the things we love because we think it keeps them safe. It doesn't. It just makes everyone miserable. He left before Elena could respond. She sat in the cafe for 20 minutes, coffee untouched, trying to figure out what to do. When she finally left, Damien's guards fell into step behind her. Back at the penthouse, Damien was waiting. He didn't look happy. My men said Volkov approached you. Why didn't you call me immediately? Because I wanted to hear what he had to say before you went nuclear. He could have killed you. In a public cafe in broad daylight with your guards watching? Not likely. Elena set down her bag. He wants to negotiate. Says he's tired of the rivalry. Wants you to agree to a meeting. It's a trap. Maybe. Or maybe he's telling the truth. Volkov doesn't tell the truth. He tells useful lies and waits for people to believe them. Damien paced the living room. He's planning something. This peace offering is just the opening move. What if it's not? What if he really does want peace? Then he's dying. Men like Volkov don't soften unless they're terminal. Damien stopped pacing, looked at her. Did he threaten you? No, he was actually polite, almost charming. That's how he works. Charms you into lowering your guard, then strikes when you're vulnerable. I've seen him do it a dozen times. Elena sat on the couch. He said Anna's known him for years, said she could vouch for him. Damien's expression shifted. Anna never mentioned knowing Volkov. Maybe because she knew you'd react exactly like this. Maybe she was trying to protect something. Or maybe Volkov's lying about that too. Trying to create doubt, division. Damien pulled out his phone, made a call. I need Anna in my office, now. Anna arrived 20 minutes later. She took one look at Damien's face and sighed. Victor talked to Elena, Anna said. Not a question. You knew he was planning this? I knew he wanted peace. I told him approaching her was a bad idea. Clearly, he didn't listen. Anna sat down, looking tired. Yes, I've known Victor for 30 years. He was friends with your father, was at your christening. Used to give you and Isabella candy when you were children. The rivalry between you two started after your father died. Victor thought he should take over the organization. You disagreed. It escalated from there. He tried to kill me, Damien said flatly. He defended his territory when you moved against him. There's a difference. Anna held up a hand. I'm not taking sides. I'm telling you the history you've rewritten to justify this war. Victor's not a saint, neither are you, but he's also not the monster you've made him out to be. So you're his spy now. I'm a woman who's tired of watching people she cares about destroy each other over pride and territory and decades-old grudges. Victor wants peace. You should at least hear him out. And if it's a trap, then you bring enough firepower to make sure you walk away anyway. But if it's genuine and you reject it out of stubbornness, you're the one prolonging a war that's costing both of you resources and allies. Anna stood. I'll support whatever decision you make. But I think Elena's right. At least consider the possibility that peace is better than endless conflict. After Anna left, Damien stood at the windows, staring out at the city. Elena joined him. I don't trust easily, he said quietly, especially not men who've spent years trying to undermine me. I know, but maybe Anna's right. Maybe it's time to try a different approach. If I agree to meet with him and it goes wrong, people die. Probably me. Definitely anyone who comes with me. Then bring overwhelming force. Stack the deck in your favor, but at least take the meeting. See what he's really after. Damien was quiet for a long time. Then, if I do this, and that's a big if, you stay out of it. No attending the meeting. No inserting yourself into negotiations. You've been pulled into my world enough already. Agreed. This is your decision. I'm just asking you to make it based on reality instead of fear. He looked at her. When did you get so wise? When I stopped letting fear make my choices for me. You taught me that. 3 days later, Damien agreed to meet with Volkov. Neutral territory, a restaurant Damien owned, armed guards everywhere. Elena stayed at the penthouse with Anna, watching the clock, fighting the urge to call and check if everything was okay. He'll be fine, Anna said. Damien's many things, but unprepared isn't one of them. What if Volkov really is planning something? Then Damien will handle it. He always does. 2 hours later, Damien returned. Alone, unharmed, looking thoughtful rather than angry. Well? Elena asked. Volkov's dying. Pancreatic cancer. 6 months? Maybe less. He wants to consolidate his holdings, make sure his people are protected after he's gone. Thinks a truce with me will stabilize the territory, prevent a vacuum that invites outside players. Do you believe him? His doctors confirmed the diagnosis. He's not lying about that. Damien sat down heavily. We talked for 90 minutes. Negotiated a framework. Divided territory cleanly. Agreed to non-aggression terms. If he holds to it, we might actually have peace. That's good, right? It's complicated. I've spent 10 years treating him as the enemy. Now I'm supposed to trust him with a handshake and some paperwork? Damien rubbed his face. But Anna was right. Continuing the war serves no one. Especially not with Volkov dying. His organization will fracture without leadership. Better to have terms in place that protect both sides. Elena sat beside him. You did the right thing. Did I? Or did I just create a new vulnerability? Time will tell, but choosing peace over endless conflict? That's growth. That's strength. Damien pulled her close. When did you become the voice of reason in my life? When you stopped trying to protect me from reality and started treating me like an equal. He kissed her then, soft and tentative, like he was afraid she'd pull away. Elena leaned into it, let it deepen, felt the walls between them finally start to crumble. When they pulled apart, Damien looked shaken. I'm terrified of this, he admitted. Of us. Of caring this much about someone again. Me too. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the things worth having are supposed to scare us. Over the next 3 months, peace with Volkov held. The truce stabilized territories, reduced conflicts, freed up resources both organizations had been wasting on the rivalry. Damien's businesses expanded. Elena's work with Anna became more strategic, more important. She was essentially running the legitimate side of his empire now, making decisions that affected hundreds of employees and millions in revenue. You're better at this than I am, Damien said one night, reviewing her proposal for a new property development. Maybe I should just retire and let you run everything. You'd be bored within a week. Probably. But it's nice to imagine a life where I'm not constantly managing threats and maintaining alliances. That's what you have me for now. Managing the boring stuff so you can focus on the exciting stuff. You're anything but boring. They had fallen into a relationship that worked for both of them. Elena kept her own bedroom, her own space. Damien kept his boundaries, his careful control. But the distance between them was shrinking. Most nights, one of them ended up in the other's room. Most mornings, they had breakfast together. They had learned to read each other's moods, to give space when needed and support when asked. Sarah's wedding was in 2 weeks. Elena had finally asked Damien to come with her. He had agreed, though he looked terrified about meeting Elena's family in a formal setting. "They're going to hate me," he said, trying on suits the day before the wedding. "They're going to be polite because Sarah asked them to be, and then they're going to judge you silently from across the room. That's not helping. You asked for honesty." Elena straightened his tie. "Look, my family is complicated. My father's going to be there even though he wasn't invited because he's Sarah's father too, and she couldn't bring herself to exclude him completely. He's going to be drunk and inappropriate. My mother might show up, might not. She's been saying she'll come, but she's flaked on every family event for the past decade. And Sarah's in-laws think anyone who doesn't work a corporate job is basically a criminal. So, yeah, it's going to be awkward, but I'll be there with you. We'll survive it together." You make it sound like a war zone. Family gatherings usually are. The wedding was beautiful and painful in equal measure. Sarah looked radiant. Tom looked nervous. The ceremony was sweet and traditional and full of promises Elena hoped they could keep. Her father showed up drunk, just as predicted. Made a scene during the reception about not being allowed to walk Sarah down the aisle. Elena's mother didn't come. Sent a card with a check and an excuse about work. Sarah cried in the bathroom for 15 minutes before pulling herself together and going back to her guests. Elena found her sister touching up makeup, eyes red. "I'm sorry," Elena said. "About Mom, about Dad, about all of it. It's not your fault. I knew she probably wouldn't come. I just hoped," Sarah's voice broke. "I hoped for once she'd actually show up for something important." "I know," Elena hugged her, "but I'm here. And Tom's here. And all these people who love you are here. That has to count for something." "It does. It counts for everything." Sarah pulled back, managed a watery smile. "Your boyfriend's making quite an impression. I've seen 3 aunts trying to figure out how much he's worth. He's not my boyfriend. Elle, you've been joined at the hip all night. He's definitely your boyfriend." Elena didn't argue. Couldn't, really. Because Sarah was right. Somewhere between the hospital and the training and the late-night conversations and the careful dismantling of walls, Damien had become her boyfriend, her partner, her person. The reception was winding down when Damien found Elena on the terrace, escaping the noise. "Your dad tried to start a fight with Tom's brother," he reported. "Security escorted him out." "Sorry you had to witness that." "I've seen worse. At least nobody got stabbed." Damien leaned against the railing beside her. "Your sister seems happy, despite the family drama." "She is. Tom's good for her. Stable, kind, everything she needs." "What about you? What do you need?" Elena looked at him. "Honestly, I'm still figuring that out. 6 months ago, I thought I needed safety. Then I thought I needed strength. Now I think maybe I need to stop defining myself by what I need and start defining myself by what I want." "And what do you want?" "You. This. A life that's complicated and dangerous and real. A partnership where I'm valued for my mind as much as anything else. A future that isn't mapped out or safe, but is mine on my terms." She paused. "Is that crazy? Probably, but the best things usually are." 2 days after the wedding, the final threat materialized. Elena was working late at the penthouse when Damien burst in, face pale, phone pressed to his ear. "Lock down everything. No one in or out. I want full security sweep, now." He hung up, turned to Elena. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The kind where one of Volkov's lieutenants decided the truce is bad for business and organized a coup. He's making a move tonight. Multiple targets, including us. I thought Volkov handled his people. He's in hospice now. Barely conscious. His organization is fracturing faster than he predicted. Damien was already moving, pulling weapons from hidden locations. They're going to hit this building. Hard. We need to evacuate. Evacuate where? I have a safe house across town. Fully stocked, heavily defended. We go there, wait out the attack, reassess in the morning. What about Anna? Your other people? Already notified. Everyone's moving to secure locations. He handed Elena a gun. You remember your training? Every bit of it. Good, because you might need it tonight. They made it to the garage before the attack started. Explosions. Gunfire. The building's security system screaming alerts. Damien's men engaged the attackers in the lobby, while Damien and Elena escaped through a service exit. The safe house was 40 minutes away. They drove in silence, Elena's heart hammering, Damien's jaw tight with controlled fury. I should have seen this coming, he said. Should have known Volkov's people wouldn't honor the truce once he was incapacitated. You can't predict everything. I should predict this. It's literally my job. They arrived at the safe house, a nondescript apartment in a middle-class neighborhood, nothing that screamed wealth or danger. Inside was military-grade security, weapons, supplies, communication equipment, a place to survive a siege. Damien made calls, got updates. The attack on the penthouse had been repelled. 3 attackers dead, 2 captured. His people were secure. The situation was contained. What happens now? Elena asked. Now I deal with the lieutenant who organized this. Make it very clear what happens to people who break agreements. And after? After I rebuild. Again, like I always do. Damien sat down heavily. This is the life, Elena. Constant threats. Constant vigilance. Constant cleaning up other people's messes. You sure you want to tie yourself to this? Elena sat beside him. I'm already tied to it. Have been since the night I called that number. The question isn't whether I want this life. The question is whether you want me in it. Of course I want you in it. I've wanted you in it since I saw you in that hospital and recognized someone who refused to stay broken. Then stop trying to protect me from reality. I know what I signed up for. I know the risks. I'm choosing them anyway, choosing you anyway. Damien pulled her close. You're insane. So are you. We match. They spent the night in the safe house while Damien's people handled the cleanup. By morning, the lieutenant was in custody. The coup was crushed. Volkov's remaining leadership had pledged loyalty to the original truce terms. Crisis averted, for now. But Elena knew there would be other crises, other threats, other late nights escaping to safe houses while Damien's enemies tested his defenses. This was the reality of loving someone who lived in the shadows, and she had made her peace with it, because the truth was, she didn't want a safe life anymore, didn't want to go back to pretending everything was normal while fear lived under her skin. She wanted this, the messy, complicated, dangerous reality where she was valued and challenged and treated as an equal, where her strength mattered, where she mattered. 3 months later, on a quiet Tuesday morning, Damien proposed. They were having coffee on the terrace, watching the sunrise, talking about expanding into new territories. Completely mundane, completely normal. Damien set down his cup. Marry me. Elena blinked. What? Marry me. Make it official. I know it's insane and probably a terrible idea and definitely more dangerous for you, but I don't care anymore. I want you in my life permanently, legally, publicly. I want everyone to know you're mine and I'm yours, and anyone who comes after you comes after me. That's possibly the least romantic proposal in history. I'm not a romantic person. I'm a practical person who's terrified of losing you and figured making you my wife might make me less terrified. That's not how marriage works. I know, but I'm asking anyway. He pulled out a ring. Simple platinum band with a single diamond. Elegant. Understated. Perfect. So what do you say? Want to tie yourself to a dangerous criminal who will probably get you killed? Elena looked at the ring, at Damien's face, at the sunrise painting the city in gold. She thought about the woman she had been 6 months ago. Broken. Afraid. Certain she would die at Marcus's hands. And she thought about who she was now. Strong, capable, free. Because of this man who had seen potential where everyone else saw a victim. Yes, she said. Yes, I'll marry you. Damien slipped the ring on her finger. kissed her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. And for that moment, on that terrace, she was. They married 2 weeks later. Small ceremony. Anna and Sarah and Tom, a handful of Damien's most trusted people. No drama, no spectacle, just vows spoken honestly and promises made with full understanding of what they meant. Sarah pulled Elena aside before the ceremony. "Are you sure about this? Last chance to run." "I'm sure. More sure than I've been about anything." "He's dangerous, Elle. His world is dangerous. You could have a normal life, a safe life." "I don't want safe. I want real. And this is real." Elena squeezed her sister's hand. "I know you're worried, but I'm not the same person I was. I can handle this. Handle him. Handle whatever comes next. Just promise me you'll be careful. I promise I'll be smart. Careful's a different thing entirely." The ceremony was short. The vows were traditional with personal additions. Damien promised to protect her always. Elena promised to stand beside him always. They both promised honesty, loyalty, and partnership through whatever chaos life threw at them. When the officiant pronounced them married, Damien kissed her, and Elena felt the last piece of her old life fall away. She wasn't running anymore, wasn't hiding, wasn't surviving day to day. She was living, fully, completely, on her own terms. The reception was at one of Damien's restaurants. Good food, good wine, good people. Viktor Volkov sent flowers and a note of congratulations. He had weeks left, maybe days, but he had lived long enough to see peace hold. That counted for something. Elena danced with Damien, slow and careful, neither of them particularly good at it, but trying anyway. "No regrets?" he asked. "None. You?" "Not even one." Later, much later, after the guests had left and Anna had gone home, and they were alone in the penthouse that was now officially their home, Elena stood on the terrace looking out at the city. Damien joined her, wrapped his arms around her from behind. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "How far I've come. 6 months ago, I thought my life was over. Thought Marcus had broken me beyond repair, and now I'm here, married to you, running a business empire, teaching kids who need someone to believe in them, living a life I never imagined was possible. You did that, not me. I just gave you the space to remember who you were. We did it together. That's the point. I couldn't have done this alone, but I also couldn't have done it if someone was doing it for me. You gave me tools and training and trust. Let me make my own choices, even the dangerous ones. Especially the dangerous ones." Elena turned in his arms. "I want to help more people, women like I was, trapped, scared, certain they have no options. I want to create a program, use your resources, give them the same chance you gave me." "That's a big undertaking." "I know, but I'm good at big undertakings now, and I have you backing me. We could actually make a difference." Damien smiled. "Then we'll make a difference. Whatever you need, whatever it takes." They went inside. The city kept spinning below them. Threats still existed, enemies still plotted, life was still complicated and messy and dangerous. But Elena had learned something important in the past 6 months, something she wished she had understood years ago when Marcus first raised his hand, something she wanted every scared woman to know. Safety isn't found in hiding from danger. It's found in becoming someone danger can't break. Strength isn't about never feeling afraid. It's about feeling afraid and choosing to fight anyway. Freedom isn't given. It's taken, claimed, defended. And love, real love, isn't about someone saving you. It's about someone standing beside you while you save yourself, then building something together that's stronger than either of you alone. Elena had been rescued. Then she had been trained. Then she had become someone who could rescue herself. And finally, she had chosen to stay not out of fear or obligation or gratitude, but because she had found a partner who saw her as an equal, who challenged her, who trusted her to make her own choices even when those choices were dangerous. That was worth fighting for, worth risking everything for. 6 months ago, Elena Whitmore had been certain her life was ending. Today, she knew it was just beginning. And whatever came next, threats, danger, chaos, she would face it the same way she faced everything now. Standing tall, eyes open, no longer a victim in anyone's story, just a woman who had survived the worst and chosen to build something beautiful from the wreckage. A woman who had learned that sometimes the most radical act of resistance is refusing to let the world make you small. A woman who was finally, completely, irrevocably free. And that freedom tasted like hope, like possibility, like a future she got to write herself, one choice at a time, with a partner who believed she was capable of anything. The scars would always be there, the memories, the knowledge of what she had survived, but they didn't define her anymore. They were just proof she had fought and won. And she would keep fighting, keep winning, keep choosing the hard path over the easy one, because that's what survivors do. They survive. Then they thrive. Then they help others do the same. And Elena was done just surviving. She was ready to live.